Welcome to Never Enough Gaming. This is episode 18, I believe. Yeah. Part 2 of Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow.
Hello. Greetings from Ireland.
Hello. Greetings
Let's,
from America.
hello, America. Let's talk about pixelated vampires.
Yes, let's do
Or
it.
vampire. You actually don't meet too many vampires in this game. It's mostly spooky bats and fucking skeletons. But the point stands.
Yeah.
There's a vampire in it.
The bats might be vampires in bat form. But,
Yeah, that's true, I suppose.
I guess
I don't
most
think
Castlevanias actually have bats and vampire bats, I think.
you do. I kind of. With Castlevania, I don't really think about the vampire side of it too much, really. Because, it's so. Isn't actually a vampire, is it? Because
No,
actually,
he's the Dark Lord, which I don't think they ever refer to him as a vampire.
this might have started as a joke, but it might have actually hit on something here. Yeah, yeah, because I mean, they'd say, "Oh, he becomes the Dark Lord. He becomes like the next Dracula." But it's like, does that mean he's a vampire, or like, you know, or like what does it mean? He's just a bad bitch, essentially.
Right, what is Dracula?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
what does that mean?
Dracula? Dracula is a state of mind.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about that before. I'll probably never think about it again.
Have you seen The Last Voyage of Demeter?
I have not.
Uh, Pretty good, that Dracula movie. Pretty good horror Dracula movie.
Oh
Uh,
man,
I highly recommend it. Reviews will say it's like okay, but I really enjoyed it.
I
Um,
I'm pretty bad at watching like vampire movies, though, to be honest. But do you know? I'll throw in my Irish fact that Dracula was written by an Irishman.
that's disgusting. No, I'm just kidding. uh, uh, yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, written by an Irish guy. Very, very strange. Um, I've never actually read it.
I know I think my wife has at some point. She reads a lot. I read every once in a while.
Yeah, what was the last thing I read actually was The Shadow over Innsmouth, the H.P. Lovecraft short story,
Nice.
just because I was playing Bloodborne and they're just inextricably linked.
Right, yeah.
Um,
I think last thing I read was Pet Cemetery.
there's nothing wrong with
Yeah,
it with
that
Stephen King, man. You obviously like kind of horror tinged things because it's all like you're talking about like that vampire movie, Stephen King. You love the Resident Evil games. You're from
Oh yeah, I like fucked up shit. Um like I like when shocking things happens in movies, like um I was gonna say that thing that happens in Last of Us Part 2. I fucking love it because it's horrifying and happens out of nowhere.
Well, I
Uh
haven't played it, so I appreciate the spoiler wall you put up around it. That's
okay. Damn. Right, I think we might have talked about this. You managed to not touch upon a spoiler for that?
yeah. I have not played either of the Last of Us games and dodged pretty much every spoiler.
Like, ah, man, I'm so bad when it comes to that shit. I knew the plots of Last of Us Part 2 before the game came out.
I know you can play the guitar in it. That's literally it. And there's some like I actually I don't know anything else about it.
Huh. Did you like Part 1?
I didn't play it.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, I know. Um,
I mean, there's some high point. I mean, like, that's no different than, like, I haven't played Ocarina, and I haven't played, like, Witcher 3, and, but, yeah.
yeah, it is. It
Um,
is hard to get away without playing like The Last of Us because I do always get the "What the fuck do you mean you haven't played The Last of Us?" and then people beat me up and stuff. But
and you don't know spoilers for the first one, or you do?
I will play the game eventually, so I would appreciate some boundaries.
No, I mean, like, you don't know the spoilers for the first one?
I don't know. I don't.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I wish I could play through that game without knowing what happens and
I know
experience it again.
nothing at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I envy that. That's good stuff.
Um, yeah, I'm usually. It's funny. for Shadow of the Earth Tree, I did get it spoiled for me. Not in a big way, but I got bits of it spoiled for me. So I wasn't too lucky there.
How'd you find that, but not The Last of Us spoilers?
Yeah, I don't know because I mean, there's a Last of Us Netflix show and everything. Um, I
Oh
don't,
yeah,
I don't know. See, I'm not really on social
good
media,
show.
so yeah.
I don't know if you plan on watching that, but definitely play the game first because it is like the definition of a good translation. It follows the events of the game.
I
So,
should. I definitely will play The Last of Us, but I suffer from like backlog paralysis, where there's just so many games in there.
yeah.
There's a million games in there, and like I should really play one of these, and then I go, I'm just going to play Mega Man X.
I mean, I just bought Judgment, and I look at my Steam library. It says 707 bought games. I'm like, what
You
the
do need to
fuck
play
am I
Judgment,
doing?
though. I'll even play it with you. Geez, that game is so good.
I mean, shit, maybe we could talk about it.
We
Do an
could, yeah.
episode. I mean, it would take more than one, obviously,
Like,
but, you know.
I don't know. People probably listen to this and go like, we'll say. I said this to you like before we started recording. Like, I absolutely love the Yakuza game series, but funnily enough, the gameplay in terms of the actual like beat 'em up part of it, I'm actually a bit indifferent to. It's with the story and Judgment, like I think it's just so good. It funnily, another game that we talked about earlier, something I have a similar experience with, is Earthbound. Earthbound to me is like a near perfect
Ugh.
game, but I would say it has like 7 out of 10 gameplay.
Yeah, when it comes to the battles and like any kind of older RPG, I'll play it on emulator and hit that fast forward button.
I wish I did that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. It makes it just so much. I mean, if I get to a new enemy or a boss, I won't do that. But only if I'm grinding, you know? It just
yeah.
cuts so much unnecessary time. It's something I'm going to do anyway, so might as well make it easy.
But yeah, but it's just interesting because for me, it's I can acknowledge that like the actual turn-based fighting in Earthbound for me is a bit like, but it kind of gets, I don't know, it's almost cancelled out by just how brilliant the whole package is. So I'm like, yeah, I'll give the pass. That's okay. Um,
Uh, oh, sorry, good.
no, I'm finished off.
There's a game exactly how I feel as you do about Earthbound, and that's a game we actually recorded the episode for last night. Spec Ops: The Line. It's like a simple military cover shooter, but the story is like it might be one of my favorite game stories I've ever played. And I played a lot of games.
So, funnily enough, I haven't played Spec Ops: The Line. I'm pretty sure I know what the twist is. Uh, so I did get spoiler for that. Get a spoiler for that at one point. I don't know how I
Yeah,
managed that and dodged the last.
the story of that. There's been a lot of articles written on it and stuff, so that's not surprising.
Yeah, but I have heard incredible things about Spec Ops: The Line. But
Yeah, and the gameplay is just like it's not even as polished as like a Gears of War. It's even more simple than that when
yeah,
it comes to it, down to it. But except for other things, there are some things it does do differently that other shooters don't. But the story is where it's at.
but like the whole package is kind of it would make you go, yeah, that was absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's weird how that works. Yeah, with Dawn of Sorrow, I kind of forget that there's a story.
I was about to say, funny enough, that's how I kind of feel about. I mean, it's personal opinion, but I love Zelda, but the temples and dungeons are far from my favorite part of the games.
Yeah, no, that's. I wouldn't say that's a controversial opinion. Not.
I always love the collecting, going around finding everything, and like the actual dungeons. I'm like, I just want to get this fucking over with.
Kind of well, especially because there's a lot of like well, people probably think of the water temple and Ocarina of Time, but it's kind of a lot of toing and froing and backtracking, which again is a
The water temple in Majora's Mask can eat my ass. Fuck that.
That one actually does suck absolute balls. To be fair,
Yeah.
that's underrated in the ball sucking Olympics. Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's just funny that I just kind of said there, oh, like the backtracking and going back and forth, but I mean, like we're talking about a fucking Metroidvania game.
Yeah. But, you know, it's different.
It's different because in Zelda, it's kind of like you go into a room to pick up a key to run back to open a door. That you go in, you might get an item, and you have to go back to the first room, and but it's all in a very contained space. Whereas in Castlevania, like in the Metroidvania games, like you could hit a like some sort of locked door or something like that, kind of early on, and then like 10 hours later, you could pick up an item and that you can use in that door, and then it's a whole other area and unlock something massive. So it is kind of different.
Yeah.
You know?
And also, like, Zelda, I'm sure Ocarina does too. And actually, same with Wind Waker and Majora's Mask. In the middle of these dungeons, you got to keep busting out your instrument.
Is that a euphemism?
Well, no, because it's young Link, and I don't want to go to jail.
Oh, damn. CIA wants to know your location, man.
Second half of Ocarina Link, yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly, yeah. We need to put boundaries here, man. That's good.
So, Dawn of Sorrow.
Dawn of Sorrow.
We just beat Malthus and got our double jump. And we're heading towards the Garden of Madness again. And just notable enemy I like here are the... Oh, man. Why'd I even bring this up? Because I can't fucking pronounce it. The Barbarisia? They're flying devils.
Yeah, Barbarisia. I know who you're talking about.
It's one of those enemies that I mentioned in the first episode where you think is going to be tough, but just dies. Simply.
They're like the flying devils, right?
Yeah, the big purple one.
Actually, literally just said that exact sentence.
Well,
because you were like, Mauritia, they're like flying devils. And oh yeah, they're the flying devils, right? Fucking idiot, PJ.
That just means you're listening.
Yeah. Well, after the fact, like retroactively, like, oh wait, that sounds familiar. He said it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're good, man. Then you get shortly after this, you get to Dario, and he doesn't care that his friend was killed. He does. Well, I guess that doesn't mean he's his friend, but yeah, and boss fight. And I hate this boss, not because of the gameplay, but if you're playing with the volume on, he laughs and laughs and laughs and laughs the whole fight. And yeah, even with this second fight, he does it too. And oh man, I was on like, I know he killed me a couple times, so my third try in, I was like, all right, I gotta mute this and put music on.
What did you listen? Did you listen to like Simon and Garfunkel or something chill? Or
Ah, shit, I don't remember.
It sounds like you're trying to block the whole moment out. Is that your review of the boss fight? It's just like literally focus on something else and just get over it.
Yeah, because, I mean, even the fight itself, it's pretty simple. He only has a couple attacks, and they're super easy to dodge. He's just really beefy. He has a lot of health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. He is a bit of a beefcake.
Yeah. Beefcake Dario.
Beefcake Dario. That's what they call him. This.
I'm gonna draw that and put it on Rule 34.
Oh no, it's probably there already. To be fair,
probably.
Man, I'm so tempted to change.
Me and my wife will sit there. We'll be like, let's see what some of the weirdest shit we can find.
Man, that's a challenge. No one's gonna come out happy. Like that's terrible.
No, yeah.
No,
it's not good.
And is it in this fight that you can get an ending, or is that later on?
That is later. That's your second fight with them.
Yes. Okay. My apologies.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Strike that from the record, Your Honor.
I would be doing the same thing if I wouldn't have notes, and I go crazy on these notes. I mean, for Spec Ops: The Line, that's like an 8-hour game. I had 22 pages of notes for it.
Damn.
Yeah.
How long was your episode?
Insane. 3 hours.
Fucking hell. It's only an 8 hour... If it's only an 8-hour game, I might play it.
Oh yeah, it's a short, sweet experience. Unfortunately, it just got delisted off everything. So, you're gonna have to find a disc. Is that because of a copyright issue, or it's some type of licensing issue? It just happened like a month ago. I think they're trying to work it out because even the developers were like, the creators was like, this wasn't supposed to happen. But
I will keep that in
yeah,
mind.
yep, short, sweet game.
Uh,
I think I beat it. It's shorter than 8 hours. I beat it in like 2 play sessions.
okay. And is it just single player campaign?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
There was a DLC like side co-op campaign, but that's not playable anymore. Uh,
Okay.
it's always sad when those things go offline and gone forever.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see what platforms it's on.
PS3, 360.
Okay.
Uh,
I will look into that.
I bought it on the Xbox store a long time ago so I have it downloadable. But like I said, they took it off everything.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, I will look into it if it's only 7 or 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I finished Shadow of the Earth Tree in 2 sittings.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Did you explore everything in it?
I did. My wife went on holidays, so I said, I'll boot up Shadow of the Earth Tree, and I might play it for a small bit, and now I'm suffering from probably fucking some sort of vitamin deficiency. I'm very tired.
I mean, shit, I've taken vacations at work before just to play a new release.
I did I ever do that? I might have done it for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
I had a friend that did that at our workplace, actually. Yeah.
Just that. I think that was the only one I did it for. And I still haven't played Rebirth, so I'm totally hypocrite. But
I haven't played Final Fantasy VII, so.
well, you got to
I
start
played
somewhere.
I played and beat Crisis Core. That's a part of Final Fantasy VII.
It is on what console? The PSP or the PS5 remake?
The PSP version. I played it back in the day.
Oh, okay.
It was actually my first Final Fantasy game, oddly enough.
That's an interesting place to start. I was gonna say weird, but that's like a pejorative. That's not cool.
My second Final Fantasy game was Dirge of Cerberus.
Man, what are you doing, man?
I got it for Christmas one year.
I was a still am actually die-hard Final Fantasy fanatic, and I remember I got Dirge of Cerberus when it was released, and like immediately I was like, what the fuck am I playing right now?
I don't remember it. I know it was like a didn't it play kind of like a Devil May Cry stylish action game?
It's a third-person kind of platforming shooting game.
Yeah,
but it's like, but it's a sequel to Final Fantasy VII. So I mean, but the story is complete wank.
I really want to get into the Final Fantasy series, especially 16 coming out. I bought the first 6 on Pixel Remaster. I just beat and got all my notes done for the first one, so I'm gonna work through.
The first one that's an easy to digest. It's a nice simple one. Nothing crazy.
Especially the Pixel Remaster, because you can fast forward fights. You can turn the random encounters off if you're stuck in a dungeon.
Yeah, it's really nice.
So.
I got the 6 of them Pixel Remaster. I have them on my Steam Deck, the exact same.
Me too. That's where I played it.
It's nice. It's chill. The Pixel Remasters are really, really good. To be fair,
and I really enjoyed the first one, honestly. So I'll be getting to the second one here soon.
Yeah, I think you'll probably hear a lot of people shitting on the second one. It's fine. Like it's fine.
I mean, fuck. I like 13. So.
I think 13 had a lot of promise. The only thing that kills me about 13 is I bought it the day it came out, and I spent 70. Well, euro is the currency we use. I'll just say dollars. I spent $70. Probably more than equal. I don't know what the fucking exchange rate is, but
Me neither.
But like basically within a year, you could buy it in like thrift stores for like $1. Like it was. But the thing is like graphically it still holds up because I actually booted it up maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, man, this still actually looks really good. I actually quite liked the gameplay because it was turn-based RPG, but it was really fast-paced. You use the synergies,
you can't just if you just mash your attack button to skip the turn-based type stuff.
You get your shit kicked in.
Yeah, you can't win that way, especially at bosses, man.
Oh man,
fuck.
Barthandalus kicked my shit in, man. But the thing I couldn't get over is I had no fucking idea what was happening in the story, man. I had no idea. And I have watched. There's been some really like good YouTubers that have tried to make digestible summaries of what's going on in the game, and I still have no idea what's happening.
I mean, I read every like codex entry
I
all the
did it.
way,
So did I.
and I still was having trouble. like,
It made it worse.
right? Yeah.
Because it was like there was Ulysses and Falces and Pulse and Grand Pulse and
What does this shit mean?
yeah, and Cocoon, and I was like,
I'm just like, okay, sisters and a crystal, gotta get her out.
basically, yes, you can't go wrong with that. Like Sisters in the Crystal, someone fucking get Goldberg to jackhammer her out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's 13. I think gets a bad rap, but the first 6 are pretty damn good though. I got them in. I have the first 10 games in. I have Japanese versions of the first 10 games. I bought them funnily in Japan. So yeah, I'm a big fan of them for sure. But the newer ones, not so much.
Out of the original 6, from what I understand, 4 is like the god tier one to people.
Oh, 6 is probably the god tier. 6 is more like, I think, probably blanketed. Like, I think a lot more people think 6 is god tier. But there's definitely a subset of people that go like 4 is the one.
4 is the one you start off in the mech, right? In the snow area.
No, that's 6.
Oh, okay. That's 6. Okay, I had it confused. Okay,
yeah.
So that is the one I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah. 6 is pretty incredible, to be fair. And are you going to try and make your way up through all of them?
Fuck yeah, I am.
Fuck yeah, boy!
I might even hit Crystal Chronicles on the way.
Yeah, I have that on the GameCube, and I don't know why. Because you need friends to play.
Do you really?
I think you can play it single player, but it was designed with multiple people in mind. I think
it's probably going to be more difficult than it needs to be.
Well, it was remade for like modern systems, so you can play, so you don't have to get the original GameCube release or anything. Sorry, my dog's ripping up cardboard. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I need to deal with this. Can you not? Great girl. Can you not? Her name is Peg. Peg.
I got a dog named Frodo, Panda. I got a cat named Julian, cat named Mort, a cat named Ding Dong, and a cat named Miko.
You've got a lot of animals. Nico the cat, very good.
Yeah, he's our biggest one. Dude's fucking huge, and
he's a baller.
Yeah, they're since we live in like country ass Kentucky, a lot of them just chill outside most of the time. We got food on the porch for the crazy cat people,
Also, look, every town needs one. It's good. Thanks for doing that for your community. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I got this.
Were we talking about a game?
Right.
You were talking about Dario's laugh.
Yeah, fuck that laugh.
What a nice segue.
The whole time, won't stop laughing, and it's not even a variation of different laughs, just the same laugh.
Is it the ha ha ha? Is it that laugh?
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It does a good job of really making me want to fucking kill him.
But he strikes me as like the doofus. Do you know, like Bebop and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Like that's kind of
right.
That's kind of the vibe I get from Dario. He's just like an oaf.
That's why I was kind of confused when you killed Dimitri first.
Yeah, that really caught me. I have to say, I was like, oh, because I thought he was going to be the clever, sneaky one. And foreshadowing, he is.
Right, I actually didn't expect that twist. I was like, good on you.
Yeah, again, like this game, to be honest, isn't too rich in the story department. So there's little things do stand out.
Definitely, yeah. Like, there's not a lot of story. Like, even my notes are pretty minuscule on this game compared to others. But I don't know. One of my favorite thing about this game is all the enemy types
Yeah,
and
no, it
getting
is.
all their powers.
It
So
is
good.
super very. Yeah, I had to say like getting all the powers. I mean, there's a lot of work in that.
Although I did get overwhelmed with all the powers at one point because I'm like, ah man, I don't know which one to use. I want to use all of them.
But yeah, it is like a choice paralysis. It's the second time I've used paralysis in context of a video game. But
You're
yeah,
obsessed.
I'm obsessed with paralysis. I literally can't move off it.
It's a weird kink, man.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's weird over here, okay? But uh, that's the thing. There's just too much choice, and I do tend to kind of. It's not a hard game as such, so you can kind of get by with if you find a set of souls that you're more or less comfortable with. With some exceptions, like some bosses will kind of kick your shit in, but with most of the time you'll get by. You know.
Oh yeah, I was trying to tell myself like you don't need to use Manticore all the time. But
That's kind of the go-to though.
yeah, because most bosses you'll it just hits them. It's such a good move, and you can get it so damn early. It's one of the first ones you can get.
And like we kind of talked about this before we started, but also like if you watch any Donosauro speedruns, it's the first thing they do is they grab Manticore and leave it on for basically the whole run. So I'm like, well, if they're doing it, they're the experts. I guess I'll do it.
Exactly.
I don't have an opinion.
Just follow the leader.
Did you? We might have alluded to this in the previous episode, but did you pick up on the weird, like, how there's this weird attitude around Aricado and his identity?
Actually, you're talking about Genya, right?
And yeah, Aricado, yeah.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Did we talk about that, or
I don't think so.
do you know who it is?
No. Should I? If I beat the game?
It's a callback from a different game.
Okay, then yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
My Castlevania lore isn't up there.
A fun. He's a fan favorite character. I'd put it that way. But fun fact: I wrote a song about Aricado.
Ooh,
Yeah,
fancy.
it's an instrumental song. But yeah, he's a cool guy.
What game is he from?
If I say it, it's going to be too obvious.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's not a spoiler. It's not a spoiler like at all. It's just a kind of an Easter egg thing, like because they do nothing with it.
Oh, you can tell me. Go ahead.
It's Symphony of the Night.
Okay, I was about to say, I was thinking in my head that it's probably Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Because, that's...
Well, you know who the main
Go.
character is in Symphony of the Night, right?
No.
Okay. His name is Alucard, and Aricado is just like the Japanese pronunciation of Alucard. So that's
Okay.
that's the. You also play as Alucard in Castlevania 3 on the NES. I think you
The
play as,
only NES one I haven't played. I played 1 and 2.
yeah. In that you play as 3. Is it Sylpha? Travis Bell? Is it Travis Belmont? There's a few characters in that actually. That you can play as. Yeah. I haven't played much of it, to be honest. I am awful at the NES Castlevania games. They're quite hard.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm so bad. Save states. I used a lot of save states on the very first Castlevania.
Is there before we go back to it, is there any like game that's just notorious? And I'm on about retro games, like not like Dark Souls, but is there any games that are like notorious for difficulty that you actually beat like legit, major, like that you persevered and you beat legit?
Something that isn't Dark Souls. Let's see.
Yeah.
Well,
NES
I mean,
territories, NES and SNES kind of territory.
Wizard of Oz on the Super Nintendo.
Man, yeah, but that's ridiculously hard because it's programmed like shit.
Exactly. Yeah. When I was a kid, we had a Super Nintendo, and that was the only Super Nintendo game we had for a while, and I played the fuck out of it.
Man, pour one out for my boy. That is rough.
Yeah. And then I ended up getting like Smash TV, and I fell in love with that game.
Yeah, Smash TV is good fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my games growing up was Battletoads. I have not finished
Oh,
it. I wasn't going to turn around and say, yeah, and I beat it. I've never beaten Battletoads. It's hard as
I
Battletoads.
yeah, fuck that. I beat it with save states, but without it, no, no. Uh, I even like the new like the 2016 whatever Battletoads. I thought was really good.
What do you think when people say you beat it with save states? It doesn't count, man.
That's ridiculous. Whatever. If you have fun playing the game, that's what matters.
I mean, I guess
Like,
like if like if you're going to get locked out from a substantial portion of the game because of one obstacle, yeah.
yeah. I mean,
If it's the difference between you doing it with save states or actually never playing the game at all, wouldn't you rather play
right.
the game?
Yeah. I mean, it's also useful for I'm playing Majora's Mask. I'll drop a save state at the beginning of a boss fight. So if
Yeah,
I die, I don't have to, make my way through the damn dungeon again. Stuff I already did anyway. So I'll just load real quick. So save me, 4 or 5 minutes.
yeah. It is the convenience factor. I think you and I have spoken about that before. It's just I don't have because I don't really have a lot of time to play games unless it's Shadow of the Earth Tree. Um, but because I don't really have time to play games, I can disconnect from a game pretty quickly if I'm getting frustrated. I'm like, I'll do it another day. I'll probably never play the game again. So
Especially with how many games are out there. I mean, even if you have I have Game Pass, PlayStation Plus, and I get my Humble bundles. That's way too much, man. I have too many games to play. I need to get through these things.
yeah, it does. There are too many games to play. It's to be honest, it's a bit like streaming services as well. There's so many shows out there that I mean, you're only going to spend time on shows that you think are actually worth watching. Um,
And that's what fucks me up because same thing with games. I'm the same way with shows and movies. I'll watch the most fucked up, horrible horror movie and love it,
yeah,
and I'll watch like Grey's Anatomy, man. Like, I, it's I watch it all. I went back and watched the first season of Pokemon like a week ago.
man, that, great. Yeah, Grey's Anatomy and Pokemon. Yeah, that's an interesting mix. Have you
But I
seen,
also I mean, I see every Saw movie when it comes out in the movie theater. Like,
have you seen every episode of Grey's Anatomy?
yeah.
Noted.
Huh?
Noted. No, I was just kidding.
Except for like the newest 2 seasons. So like the first 18 seasons. Fuck yeah.
Man, all I can remember from Grey's Anatomy because I think it was my wife. Like a family member used to watch it. That there's one episode where a guy comes in and he's had an erection for like 4 days and can't get rid of it.
Yep, I remember that episode.
Yeah, and I don't know how it happened, and I don't know how they fix it, but I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" I kind of never. No, I mean,
I just love how
that's
stupid it
engaging
gets.
television. I probably should have watched it, but that's
Like at one point, there's a terrorist threat with a bomb in the hospital that's in a person that's dying, and if they die, it blows up everybody. Like, why is this happening? This is stupid, but it's entertaining.
man, like, that's going to really take a toll on someone's insurance bill. Um,
Definitely.
that's yeah, I can see like it's definitely dramatic and engaging. Yeah, so there's no judgment.
There's just too much to watch, man. And so when it comes down to it, I'll be sitting there looking for something to watch. I'm like, I don't really want to put dedication into it, so I'll watch I'll watch Love Island or Too Hot to Handle.
I have seen a bit of Too Hot to Handle.
I love that stupid shit. I
Man.
love watching hot people do stupid shit.
But look, to be honest, I am partial to fucking trash television because, like, occasionally, like, I will. It doesn't happen too often, but like, I'll put on like MTV, and all they show is
Yeah.
episodes of Catfish. It's nothing but episodes of Catfish, and
I used to watch that a lot.
man, you get drawn in. Like, it's absolute junk, but it's just I can't take my eyes off of it. It's fucking ridiculous.
Same thing of ridiculousness.
Do you know what's really weird about that is they go on about like it's like MTV's biggest fucking like rerun show. It's on all the time. I've never seen a single second of an episode of Ridiculousness.
You've never seen it?
I've never ever seen it, and I know it's Rob Dyrdek, and I know all the stuff about it. I've never seen a single millisecond of an episode.
It's just because there's like, you know, there's over 1,000 episodes, and they pump it out, and you know, but the only place I ever see that show now is if I'm staying at a hotel and I have MTV on.
Well, I know it's like MTV's like one thing.
Yeah.
I suppose like do you know
Teen Mom.
Oh man, my wife loves Teen Mom. Do you know what I really like is My 600 Pound Life?
Oh man, we used to.
PSC stuff is dark, man.
We used to watch that shit every week when it aired, and we order pizza and watch it. Oh yeah, man.
That's true.
We get ice cream and pizza and just watch it.
Like drinking a gallon of Ben and Jerry's. It is that kind of like that weird observational thing, like where I remember when Jerry Springer was the hot thing, like and
oh yeah,
you look at it and you kind of go. I mean, I know it's staged, but like you still look and kind of go, those fucking losers. Look at it. And it's like, man, like my life isn't that much better,
Right.
It's like, I can't really grandstand right now. Like things aren't that good.
It's just, your mind having fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But what I was getting at, it's funny how we managed to land on Jerry Springer of all things. I actually rather Maury Povich, but we won't.
Oh man, when I was in the hospital after all my surgeries, Steam Deck and Maury. Oh yeah.
Maury's unbeatable. But I always think of there was this one episode he had where it was to do with people having irrational fears, and so he'd bring a guest on stage, and he'd say like, oh, this is Sandy, and she has an irrational fear of balloons, and she'd start talking about like this traumatic incident of whatever, and then like a crew member in the background would sneak up on her with like a load of balloons, and she'd start like turn around and go ah! And start crying hysterically, and it's like this is so fucking weird. What is the point?
It's like a weird form of public torture.
But fuck. The one I always remember is there was one episode where he brought someone on to do with fears again, and she was deathly afraid of olives. And he was like,
"No."
He was like, "This is a weird one. Why are you afraid of olives?" Because I had a dream when I was a kid that when my grandfather died, that he had olives for eyes.
What?
And he was like, right. But at the same time, a crew member snuck up behind her with a giant jar of olives. And she turned around and she was hysterically crying. And I was having a real crisis, man. I was like, what sort of daytime television is this? This is so weird. I actually have to look up that clip. That's a genuine thing that happened. It's so strange.
I'm definitely going to look that up. That's so good. Man.
Sorry, we could go full circle. So, like, I suppose the reason the trash TV thing came up is I was kind of alluding to the fact that, like, we both have like big backlogs, but you have like subscription services like Game Pass and everything, and it's weird. We've never had more games to play, but I think I'm in a position where I have to know that the game is absolutely worth playing. That it's like a 9 out of 10. Because anything that's like, a 6 or a 7 out of 10, it's like, I don't have the time. There's too many games out there. I'm not going to give a look at this. So it just kind of gets left there, really.
Yeah.
And we were saying this to each other earlier. I will only play a game if it's like critically acclaimed and like definitively worth playing, or horrifically awful because I'm curious. Yeah.
The way I take care of that is pure insanity.
Okay.
So, if I'm not on a time crunch to play a specific game, I have a list: 5 Game Pass games, 5 PlayStation Plus games, and 10 games that I bought and own, and 1 MMO. And I go to random.org, I put in 26, and I play whatever game it lands on.
Oh, you literally just like roll the dice.
And I make progress in that game, and Uh, and then, well, the way I do it is I'll play a game on that list that I choose that I really want to play at the moment, and then the next time I play a game, I'll do it random.
Okay, that's a
It's
good idea.
it's it's kind of, you know, all over the place, but it works for me.
Yeah. No, no, that's
And the thing is, like, I can remember exactly where I am in every single game I have started.
that's a
Like,
that's a very unique photographic talent you have. That's
oh
uh,
yeah, there was I picked up a Banjo Kazooie save file on my Xbox One on my old account that was from like 2013.
hmm.
I picked this up a year ago and I finished my my fucking playthrough.
Man, the
Like 10
last
years after.
the last boss fight in Banjo Kazooie is fucking hard.
Yeah, yeah. Unnecessarily hard.
'Cause up until that weird game show section and then the final boss, the game is fine. It's not hard at all. And then you
It's a
spend, like,
breeze.
and then it just like accelerates like out of nowhere.
Which, you know, it's I mean, you technically get credits before you get to the boss, so like
Mm.
you could just leave off there, I guess. But uh but you got to fight that final boss.
Yeah, that boss sucks, man. But
There she has hits that will straight up hit you no matter what.
yeah, no, it's ridiculous. Like fucking it is like a crazy Dark Souls boss.
It's even like, you know, on top of a castle. Like
Yeah, exactly. It's like fighting gargoyles or something, you know.
I should be fighting the Iron Golem here. Like
Oh yeah, yeah. That's actually it's a good comparison.
thank you.
But yeah, I'll tell you what's next on my list. Actually, game wise, is for the I guess you call it the Sega Genesis in America. It's
The Mega Drive
it's the
over
Mega
there.
Drive over here. So
Yeah.
and I guess you would call the add-on the Sega CD. Here it's called the Mega CD. Um,
The Mega CD.
the Mega CD. The Mega CD. Yeah. My next game is Snatcher. If you're familiar with Snatcher.
Oh, that's Hideo Kojima's game, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the game he did.
I never played it, but I want to play it.
Yeah, that's my next one. So like the game he released after that is Police Knots. I don't know if you've ever played Police Knots.
No.
It's one of my favorite games. It's so good.
It's on Steam or GOG?
I played it on the Sega Saturn.
Oh, it's on. Okay, so it's on Saturn. Awesome.
Well, I played it with a translation patch, but yeah, oh man, it's so good. It's it's obviously like it's point and click. It's mostly a like narrative game, and it's basically it's a buddy cop movie in space, and the two main characters are based on the two main characters in Lethal Weapon.
That's awesome. I love point and click adventure
Yeah.
games so much.
No, but I was playing it and I was like, the main guy who plays, I was like, is this Mel Gibson? Am I playing as Mel Gibson? And then I looked it up and I was like, yeah, the characters are based on Lethal Weapon. I was like, what the fuck? It's set in the future in space. It's just so weird.
Yeah, that sounds like a Hideo Kojima thing.
Oh yeah, great. It's absolutely great. But
Mel Gibson in future in space,
Mel Gibson in space. Yeah, it's no, it's
fighting space terrorists.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Honestly,
Yeah.
but I definitely recommend that. We we trying to steer the ship back to the coast.
Alright, yeah. Steer it back, and we beat Dario.
We beat Dario. We finally did it. He
And
laughed
he's
at
about
us so
to-
much that we decided to bore him until he died.
Yes, that's right. Then he's about to unleash some like power, and Celia comes up and says you can't lose Dario because he's the only candidate now to become the Dark Lord. And he's like, all right, fine. He teleports away because whatever move he was going to do, I think was going to kill him in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. She says she underestimated you, and to meet her on the uppermost floor. So now you work your way through to the demon guest house.
Which is a cool area. I like the Demon Guest House.
Yeah, a lot of I really it's um yeah, it's my favorite place in the game. I think.
Yeah, probably the same. It's
Oh, and it has my favorite boss.
go on. I will let you continue.
The well, we're almost there. This is where you fight Persephones, which are like the least monstrous thing you fought so far. Oh no, the
A French
Ouija
marriage.
board table.
Oh, the Ouija board table is probably the weirdest, and it's like, oh my god,
Yeah,
the table is spinning. Ooh.
and it's just in like two rooms.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you run into Genya here, and is that am I pronouncing that right?
yeah. Again, yeah, sounds right.
Okay, I am horrible with that, man. I'm playing Shenmue right now, and I'm like, ugh. When we do this episode, I'm gonna hate saying these names. I'm gonna butcher them so much.
I assumed like you play games. I assumed that you were a weeb like all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
I assumed you were fluent in Japanese. That's what happens, right? You get into
Oh yeah,
games.
definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Uh, that did actually when I went to Japan. I like very very foolishly. I was like, oh, if I'm not equipped enough with Japanese to get myself out of a situation, hopefully, because I really hate going to other countries and expecting them to speak English to me. Um, but
right.
that's a problem, especially in Europe, because every country they don't speak, the English is the first language. But in Japan, I was expecting like, oh yeah, they'll have English as a backup if I get stuck. Often no, really no. So it's a good way to get yourself weebified is to go to Japan and learn Japanese the hard way. My dog's about to start barking when she's growling at the wall. Hey, stop! That's unnecessary. Rude.
Yeah, the plan is to go to Japan sometime. That's. I've been to a few places out of country, but Japan's the number one I want to go.
Oh, Japan's sick. Where have you been
Yeah.
actually?
Bahamas, Jamaica, Mexico, and hold on. Uh-oh.
Haiti.
Ah, the Virgin Islands.
I was
I mean, that's
okay.
that's still. Um. Oh, we're about to go to Norway soon, so that's pretty
Oh,
cool.
sweet man. Where are you going to Oslo?
I don't know exactly. I have to ask my wife. She has a brother over there.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. It's Norway is on the list because of all the crazy metal bands I love come from Norway. So
Oh yeah, that's where like, wasn't Norway like even like the originators of like death metal,
black metal for
black
sure.
metal?
I
Yeah.
think the Bay Area is like Tampa. I think is where a lot of death metal came out of. But yeah, Norway does some crazy music there. But
Yeah.
we're planning on going to. There's an island that's north of Norway called Svalbard, and it's pretty much as north in the world as you can get that still has people. It has an airport. But it's an island that only has. There's only about 50 or 60 people there at a time. So there's
Huh.
you can get a flight from I think it's northwest Norway to this place Svalbard, and it's you're basically a fucking Arctic explorer if you're going there. Like you need to wear like dead animals because it's going to be cold as shit. So I'm really looking forward to going there at some point.
I kind of want to go there. Hell
Oh man,
yeah.
check it out, man. Yeah, if you get to Norway, check it out for sure because I really want to go there. I'll send you a link.
Yeah, do it, please,
Um,
because that's the plan. I'm trying to do more traveling.
Oh man, yeah,
But,
yeah. There's a lot to see over in Europe. Is it just Norway? You're going to do anything else?
um, I think just there for now.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think the plan is like we want to try to at least visit a different place a year. You know, we're probably
Sweet.
going to try to start doing that at the end of this year.
Yeah, man.
But
I think
yeah,
I can see why. To be honest, I know it's a kind of a common thing you hear is that like there's a fairly large proportion of American citizens that don't have a passport. They don't leave. the US, but
Right.
it's massive, and every state is pretty different. So there's a lot of variety as opposed to somewhere like Ireland. I mean, it's tiny, and it's an island, so you need a passport to get out of here. But
Mm,
it's
yeah.
it's all pretty similar. It's nice, don't get me wrong, but as in, if you're looking for a change of scenery, you kind of have to get a passport and get the fuck out of here. you know? So I get it,
Yeah.
like I get it.
I mean, if you want to change the scenery here, you just drive 2 hours that way.
I'm always freaked out talking to Americans though, because it's like my
I don't blame you.
just generally my wife's uncle. Um, he went from he's like, oh yeah, I drove down to Florida from Chicago, and it's like, that isn't that a kind of a long way? He's like, it took us, you know. He was like, yeah, we were driving for like 14 hours a day. So many American people I talked to just casually kind of go, oh, I drove from this state to this state, and I was driving for like 18 hours. It was only an 18-hour drive. Like,
Uh,
stop talking about it so casually. That's really weird.
it's pretty common. I mean,
Yeah.
we're in Kentucky, and we took a 18 something hour drive. We drove all the way to California to go to Catalina. So yeah, we drove all the way across country.
You're just proving my point.
I mean, my wife was driving. I had my Nintendo Switch. No.
What are we playing?
Breath of the Wild, I think at the time.
Okay, that's fair enough. But
Yeah.
that's I just always find that so funny because it's
And Sushi Striker.
here, like, you can drive from the northernmost to the southernmost. Like, it'll take you about five hours, but that's the longest you can drive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Man.
when I hear like people going, oh yeah, I was driving 18 hours a day for like 600 million days to get somewhere, and it's totally normal, it's totally fine. It freaks me out.
Yeah, I mean 5 hours. Shit, you can you might make it to the end of the next state over.
I can't fathom America sometimes. It's massive.
It's kind of a weird place.
I've only been to Illinois and Wisconsin, so I've got.
That's still so weird to me. Like
Is
those
it?
two places.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, they're close,
Like
But yeah, I have more to do, and I've been to America a lot. I've been a lot of times. I always just end up in Illinois, so it's inevitable. So I have to work on that. I've never been to New York. I've never been to LA or any of these kind of token places.
I've never been to New York, but I've been to LA for a little bit. I stopped there I was on a Greyhound taking a bus across the country, as you do, and
As you do.
yeah, we stopped in Los Angeles for a bit. I got off the bus and I busted out some weed, started smoking outside, and there was these these guys, man, that you could tell they were ganged up, and I was like, "You want to hit this?" I just went over and started smoking with these guys that were like these motherfuckers are killers.
Yeah.
I don't know, why not? That brings people together. That's just fun.
It does bring people together. Yeah, you make your best friends and enemies under bridges.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's true here too. To be fair. Anyway, you meet
Do you
Genya.
guess how? Yeah. Oh yeah, Kenya. How did we even get off topic? I
I
don't
have
even know
no
what
fucking
happened.
idea. I was just trying to visualize in my head. I was like, what was the chain of events that led us to talking about smoking weed with gangbangers?
Yeah. Fuck. So, he tells you, he says, I told you not to get involved. And he's mad at you. And he's still wary that you can, become evil. But he decides to work with you to take the cult down. And he gives you a letter from Mina. And she says she knew you would head out and find the cult. And, she does the promise me you'll come back unharmed. And she gives you a talisman.
A talisman, you say?
Yeah. Then, Genya heads off and the track Dario, and we continue making our way to the top of the castle. And this is when I went to that sliding room puzzle area.
Yeah.
I really like this,
I
and
do as well,
it's
actually. Yeah,
so. At first, I was trying to use the stylus
yeah, no,
to move the pieces, and I'm like, why didn't that work? It should have worked.
yeah. It, I remember the very first. So like the first time I played this game was like, oh man, it was a long, long time ago. But I remember hitting this, and my initial reaction to it was like, oh, another fucking silly gimmicky thing. But I actually kind of real like. So initially, what I thought it was that you had to solve a puzzle to open the way to carry on or something. I didn't realize that you were actually shifting rooms around. I just took the concept didn't make sense initially in my head, but
Same here.
but when I kind of moved stuff around and then went in, and then I went back and I moved around and it was different, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, this is actually kind of cool. Uh,
Yeah, there's not. They don't do anything else like this in the game.
no, no, not at all.
Uh, they all. This is really like the only big puzzle.
Yeah,
um, do Castlevanias usually do puzzles?
like no. What they tend to do is like if there's any blockades, if there's any like if they want to seal you off from a certain area, they could have something as literal as a door that needs a key. But often there'll be like weird what look like puzzles, but it's essentially it's just a lock that requires a key. Um, like there, there's, I think
Like they
it's.
still do in this too,
Sorry, say it again.
and they still do that in this too. Like the
Oh,
whole
they
lock
do.
and key stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's just it just doesn't look like a lock and key situation, but it usually is. So like sometimes there'll be like something in the way and you need to use a specific soul to get rid of an obstacle, but it is just you have to go and get that soul and make sure that you hit the thing and it goes. It is essentially still a lock and key situation. Um, that's kind of the
Sorry, I just
closest thing. I don't really see puzzles.
I just got distracted for a second. I opened Discord and just saw a big ass jar of olives.
I told you it was real, man. And I didn't see that as a viral video. I saw that on television when it happened, and I did not ever see it again. I was because as I was saying it to you, I was like, I could have dreamt this up because I haven't.
Right, it sounds not real. Like,
I hadn't actually looked it up for like. Well, I hadn't looked it up ever, but I hadn't watched that clip in probably 20 years. So I was saying it to you, and I was like, I could be just this could be like a manufactured fucking memory. And when it did actually pop back up, I was like, "Oh, sweet! It is just as weird as I remember." It's such a big jar of olives, man. It's so big.
right. Why? Why
Yeah,
didn't they just get
why?
a
Who
normal
needs that
jar?
many olives? Um,
Maury.
I'm sorry for messing with all of your Discord.
Haha. Haha.
Sorry, I'll stop now. But,
uh, so
yeah,
yeah,
this is the closest we got puzzle. You're right. Yeah.
and it's cool. Like even if you don't want to do this, you don't have to at all.
Hmm.
You just get some goodies. Like you get some armor and some different weapons, and um, what else do you get?
I mean,
I think
that's
just some items too. Like
yeah. As far
maybe
as I can remember, is there's a lot of like nice items for this point in the game. And that's I don't know. There's not much there, but it's just a nice premise. It's cool, you know.
yeah,
And I like because the Demon Guest House area, like it has clowns, it has this kind of whimsical carnival kind of music, and then it has this, which is kind of essentially it is like a child's puzzle game. So there's like this weird,
yeah,
creepy, Chucky child's play element going on. I don't know.
yeah. You're killing dolls too in this
And you
area.
are
Come
exactly
alive.
you are killing that. So like they're definitely going for that kind of unsettling. There's there's a lot of horror kind of media that is like associates like childish attributes with something terrifying. I guess that's why they used
Right.
the two girls in The Shining.
Well, I
Um,
mean, I think you mentioned last episode that the clowns look like John Wayne Gacy,
they do look like John Wayne Gacy, man.
and yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was intentional. It was just I just kind of said that when I was talking to you. I was like, "Fuck, they do actually look like John Wayne." you
I
know,
mean, fuck,
um,
it might be.
yeah. But it's like parts of it are unsettling for sure. I think the music is very whimsical music is kind of unsettling sometimes.
It is, yeah.
Um,
And speaking of unsettling, you end up at my favorite boss,
yeah,
the Puppet Master.
he's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, I love this guy. He's like a big spider doll with a creepy ass head, and its mouth opens up and spits out smaller dolls, and it has Iron Maidens that will put you in and trap you in there. It like teleports you into them.
Yeah,
It's
so
really weird.
when the puppet master has like, so he has his own puppets. If he puts a puppet, so he can put a puppet into one of the Iron Maidens, and if you don't destroy the puppet, uh,
Right, yeah.
and the Iron Maiden closes on it, you get teleported into the Iron Maiden. So you get swapped with the puppet essentially, and it does pretty big damage. So it's
Yep.
cool. It took me a while to realize what was happening, but yeah, it did. This is a cool boss for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not difficult.
No, no. It just looks creepy and cool. Well, it fits the aesthetic of the, demon guest house. Fits in well there.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it has that nice kind of gimmick as well, with the Iron Maidens, and it's nice when they incorporate the environment into the fight as well, because I mean it's a 2D handheld game. It's pretty hard for them to do anything that's overly ambitious. So the fact that they're incorporating the environment into the boss fight as well, it's a nice touch,
yeah. And I like the boss is big, takes up the whole room.
a big boy.
Yep. That's one thing I'm noticing is I fucking love the bosses in this game. So,
Yeah, I do like the design. Generally in Castlevania games, I do tend to like the enemy design. I think you've said the same as well.
yeah, it's just so good.
So you end up the whole like being able to swap with a puppet is actually the soul you end up getting, which funny.
I hate it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's cool in the boss fight. It's fucking dumb, man.
Dude, I got stuck one time.
Like in
Uh,
in a wall.
Yeah, because normally you can like slide out of it, but
Yeah.
it would not let me. I was actually stuck, so I had to load game.
Oh,
But
you actually had to restart.
yeah, I mean it happened before, and I was able to slide out of it, but something happened. I don't know, but I wasn't able to slide or anything and get out of there.
Yeah, it's a bit. It does feel a bit janky,
Yeah,
to be honest. Yeah. So
and you.
So go on.
Oh no, I was gonna say, and you have to use it quite a bit actually.
You do, and it's not useful enough to keep it on all the time. But it appears just often enough to irritate you to go back into the menu and change your soul.
Yeah.
So it's this weird kind of middle ground. What I was going to ask is, at this point, we'll say in the game, were you becoming confused at all about the layout of the map, or were you kind of like, oh, where do I go, or was anything starting to feel, because usually there's one or two points in one of these like 2D Castlevania games where you do get a bit like, where exactly do I need to go next?
Yeah, I actually got lost here for a while. I explored pretty much everywhere except for the place I had to go here, where the place I had to use the doll.
It's always the last place you look. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, you have to go to Dark Chapel, and you have to go through a hole in there, and it took me forever to find.
Yeah, I was kind of the same. So it's one of the few cases where like Celia would say when you beat Dario, Celia appears and she actually mentions, "I'll meet you towards the top of the castle." So you're like, "Oh, she's given me an actual cardinal direction to go. I need to go up." Cool, because
you go down.
Yeah, it's actually not very clear at all. But typically, the game is kind of directionless. Like you end up kind of just going wherever you're allowed to go, and occasionally you might walk into a corridor and a cutscene might pop, and you're like, okay, I must be going the right way. And typically, those characters don't tell you where you need to go. There's just some melodrama happens for a second.
Yeah.
But this is one of the few occasions where an NPC character actually mentions, "Yeah, meet you at the top," and you're like, "Fucking right on! I'll see you there. 5 minutes. Let me just grab the lift." No, there's no lift. There's no nothing. You just have to like swing your dick around until you get to the right place.
Yep. But I think that's gonna happen in Metroidvanias.
Yeah, for sure.
I was also we were talking about what might have been a better use for the touchpad, They should have put the map as interchangeable with maybe a spirit screen on the bottom, so you can like quick select spirits and powers. I think that would have been so much better.
I agree. I know. Don't they have the? You can swap between soul sets in this.
Yeah, just two, which
Yeah, it's quite
it's
limited.
better than nothing, but compared to how many souls there are, it still makes like you get tired of going through that menu, you know?
You do, to be honest, and especially because what I tended to do was I would have one set of souls for fighting, um, and one set of souls for like navigation or puzzles. But very quickly that gets fucking annoying because I like to keep. Then I have like my fighting soul set, and I'm always kind of like, do I keep flying armor or manticore or
Yeah.
it's just kind of frustrating. There's
And
a
right when you switch to Manticore, you need the flying armor.
yeah, pretty much. Man, the flying armor is actually quite underrated, but uh, there's a another DS Castlevania, Order of Ecclesia, um, which has three kind of equivalents of soul sets, and that's like the perfect round. That's exactly it. So if they had
Yeah.
one more, I think that'd be solid. By the way, best DS Castlevania, in my opinion.
So they keep the soul system.
It's got a different name. It's
Okay.
not quite Souls, but it is more or less the same system, but it's done differently.
And are the Game Boy Advance ones or just Arios Sorrow or that do the soul thing too?
So Area of Sorrow does the Soul thing. Circle of the Moon has a card system. I played a bit of Circle of the Moon, and what's the other one? Is it Harmony of Distance?
Portrait of Ruin. No, that's DS.
No, that's DS. It's the one that has Just. His name is Just or Just. I have no idea. He's one of these Belmonts. But I want to say it's is it Harmony of Dissonance? Let me just
No, I don't think that one.
It is Harmony of Dissonance.
Oh, okay. I like
But I have no idea. I didn't know the name, so I definitely don't know what the battle style is.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the soul system thing is pretty cool. Let's be fair, the variety is really good.
Yeah, I like it. It gives you a lot because there's also a lot of different weapon types too. So you really can mess around with how you want to play, which is awesome.
But I think we kind of alluded to this. We'll probably allude to it more later on. We mentioned this in the previous episode that weapons and getting good weapons and having to do the kind of upgraded path is not very intuitive.
Convenient.
Yeah, not or convenient. Exactly.
Well, yeah, but it's just because it's only in one place. If they would have just, made even 2 more shop locations,
Exactly.
it would have been nice. Or, put a teleporter literally right next to him, because even when you teleport there, you have to go a little distance.
Yeah, you're 100% right. But the other thing as well is like you could have all the materials you need to upgrade, like from a base weapon to like the ultimate version, but you won't really know what that progression path is without like just trial and error, and like you have to capture souls and a weapon in order to be able to kind of upgrade them, and
Yeah.
the drop rate on souls is dog shit. So like if you make a mistake and you upgrade it incorrectly by accident, you better hope that you have a save file to go back to, because you're going to have to go grinding.
Yep.
So that's why inevitably when it comes to Dawn of Sorrow, I do end up Googling to get the best weapon, which is not great.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
I get it kind of. I don't really like doing that with games, but in this case, it's kind of fair enough. I don't really jive with the weapon upgrade system, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a little more complicated than it needs to be. There's like 2 steps too many.
Yeah, I agree. And the animations take ages as well.
Yeah.
The animations take so fucking long. Actually, that's probably what annoyed me the most. it's at this point as well. You can. Well, no, it wouldn't be at this point. I was going to say that there is an easy way to start getting money. Um,
What way is that?
it's my dog is going to start barking.
Oh, is it that room that has?
It's full of zombies.
Yeah, yeah, it's full of them, and I think there's a couple other different types of enemies in there too. I think.
Yeah. So you just keep you keep killing them until oh what did they drop? Oh yeah, their souls. So you you get their souls. You buy a bunch of I think it's brass knuckles off of Hammer, and you get Yoko to convert them into the Cestus weapon. I think. And
Yeah.
they give you a ton of gold if you sell them, and you're just going to do it over and over again. So you can technically
Huh.
do you can technically do it like immediately, but later on you can get like accessories that increase your soul drop rate, and you can get like the Black Panther soul that makes you move really fast,
Yeah.
which speeds it up exponentially. Doing it, it's an option to do it early on, but it's going to be a real pain.
But it's there if you want to.
But it's there, exactly. Yeah, it's there if you want to. I think
Yeah.
you don't really need to interface with the shop too much, unless you're buying healing items, which are usually kind of affordable anyway.
Yeah, or unless you're like, well, at first, anytime a new weapon appeared in the shop, I was always buying it. But then
Really?
just I wanted to try everything out. But then the more I played the game, honestly, I was like, I don't think I want to go for like every weapon and all that stuff.
Well,
Not here.
no, absolutely not.
but
Totally agree with you.
if I was just a little younger back in the day, I would have definitely done that.
I'm afraid you would have been on your own there. Couldn't do it. I think not too long after the Puppet Master, we get a boss pretty quickly after. Actually.
Yeah, you get to the subterranean hell, and this place is cool. You get zombie pirates, and I can't remember the name of them, but they're like weird blobs with weird faces. Kind of look like they're like gelatin, kind of.
Blubber.
Yeah.
Those zombie pirates, I always thought were goofy.
Yeah, they are.
They're real goofy. I like them, but they're just kind of like, I don't know.
Why are you here? And you get the classic mermen. Those guys are here since Castlevania 1.
Yeah, they're very irritating, to be honest.
They are, definitely.
Not quite Medusa heads, but
right.
Like in that domain.
And there's also just simply big ass fish here. I can't remember what their names are, but they're just big fish try to bite you.
I don't know if I can remember the big fish.
Yeah, they're just like it kind of looks like a normal ass fish, but a little bigger. And it just kind of swims back and forth.
The killer fish? Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, they're called killer. If it's what I'm thinking of, they're just killer fish. But eventually
you got killer fish in there, and you get the torpedo soul from those guys, I think.
Yeah. That's kind of only useful underwater, though, right?
Right. Yeah. This is where I still have the warg spirit active, using that quite a bit. And then you get to Rahab. Yeah, big fish boss.
Rahab, I have no idea. Fish boy.
Yeah. I like this fight. It's interesting that you're not like actually swimming, because this is before you get the ability. You are floating on this fight.
Yeah, you're essentially doggy paddling. I was still rocking Big Bone at this time.
Hell yeah.
You know it, boy. But
That's right.
It's the only thing about this. I like that it was different. That you were obviously in a body of water, but it's just one of those things where he is kind of out of reach a lot of the time.
Yeah, it is hard to hit him.
It just adds unnecessary kind of. I wouldn't say it's difficult, but it's just like it really draws it out for a long time.
Definitely, because it's hard to hit him, and So that just means you have to avoid his attacks longer and longer. It's just a game of endurance because he's not really that hard to dodge. You just have to, survive him, pretty
Yeah,
much.
and it's kind of basically a war of attrition. So if you're
Because like
if it's taking
even your mana core won't get to him.
exactly, yeah, you have to be very selective about what you're using. But if you don't finish it quickly, it's going to turn into a resource drain. And if you start struggling there, yeah, it can be a bit of. But I wouldn't say the fight is hard. It's just you can't really do the DPS to finish it quickly because he's kind of constantly moving around, and you can only really attack him maybe with a projectile if he's kind of below you in the water. But it's
Yeah,
you're
I
waiting for
can't
the
think of any souls that would be the best to use here. I think your best bet is just finding a good weapon. Really,
or like I found using something
or your
with
bone would work too, wouldn't it?
yeah big bone.
Yeah, yeah,
The bone or an axe, like pretty good. Something with an arc, but again,
yeah.
it just went on a bit long. I really liked what they were going for, and they've kind of done this before with Metroid, say the Castlevania Metroidvania games, having fights in bodies of water. I I remember him having a cool death animation.
I don't remember.
The important part is he dies.
Yeah, he does.
He does.
Um,
Yeah,
and that means you can swim now.
it
And
does.
well, by swim I mean walk on the bottom of the water.
I don't. I don't really understand why you don't naturally sink. Okay, I can't swim at all, and I sure as
Can't
hell
see.
don't float. I don't float. I sink like lead to the bottom. So the fact that in this case it's the opposite is a bit peculiar. Uh,
Yeah, that is weird. Didn't even think about that.
he can't help but sink. It's like he is an extremely buoyant Dark Lord.
So you
Dark
learn
Lord?
how to
Dark
not
Lord.
swim.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. Again, look, it's a video game. I can't read into it too much, but I just think it's a bit peculiar.
Yeah.
Like in, like if they gave him if it was the case that he sank and the soul was a buoyancy aid that made him bubble up to the
Right.
surface, I'd be like, okay, but yeah, the opposite's a bit strange. But either way, it's essentially this is another key and lock thing. You've been kind of you would have come across a couple of bodies of water on your way here that were
You're
just
right.
you know basically towards the bottom of these bodies of water. There would have been entrances to other locations, and they were cut off from you until now. So again, basically the body of water was acting as a lock, and this is unlocked it for you. So this is the typical kind of setup for how they make things available to you as you carry on. You know.
Yeah. So you can do yeah. There's actually a pretty good amount of exploring you can do with this. Now that you have this.
Yeah,
Um. Yep. And after this, you run into Julius Belmont, and he's at a sealed door, and he says there's something powerful behind the door. Uh. And yeah, this door will come into play later. This is the door at the end of the game, isn't it?
yeah, you're right. It's like,
Yeah, yeah.
um, what do you think of Julius?
Um, I like him. He's like, he just seems like that, gruff, seen a lot of shit kind of guy.
Yeah, that's kind of it. I think they used the amnesia angle in this game, right? That he
mm,
doesn't he have amnesia?
does he? He might. Actually, yeah, he might. I can't remember.
You might have amnesia.
I might. Yeah.
I'll just double check.
Yeah, I'm gonna check too.
It might be an area that he has it.
Okay, yeah, that is an aria. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't tell you anything about the story. It's just he has amnesia at some point.
I'm not even gonna fucking play it now.
Yeah, no, he's cool. He does that whole kind of like we're friends right now. Will you step out of line and I'll put you in your place? Like that whole thing going on.
Yep. Yeah. And it's cool because by the end, you two are just buddy buddy.
Yeah,
Pretty
he's a
much.
boy.
Like everything's all nice and happy. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
and you end up at another boss pretty much right after this. Uh, Gurgolf. Fuck this
Gorgon.
guy.
I really like this boss, actually.
I like him. I think he looks amazing, but I was terrible at fighting him. It's probably the most constricted arena you got, right? I would think.
You're 100%. If you're not in the right place, like some of his beam attacks can annihilate you.
Yeah, because you're in like a little room, and he's taking up at least a little over half the screen, isn't he?
Yeah, the screen it's more hitbox than screen, man. To be honest, it's
Right.
and yeah, the whole thing with this is you actually kind of you've been ascending a tower. You get to the top, and you fight Gargoth in it's basically a room. You're still in the tower structure, we'll say, but you're in the top room of it, and
Right. Yeah.
you fight Gargoth, and as you whittle him down, he kind of gets to a new phase. But what he does is he breaks the floor underneath him, and you start crashing down, and eventually you start. This kind of happens a few times, and you eventually hit the base of the tower. So you end up on the ground floor, and you finish off the fight there. And he also peels back the skin off of his face. Like,
yeah, it's pretty fucked up looking. I like it.
It kind of just looks a bit circumcised.
Yeah, great.
It's a bit weird. But
He's an armless, giant, uncircumcised T-Rex. I don't know the thing.
I absolutely, yeah, that's pretty much perfect.
Oh, and he has that toxic gas move that fucking sucks.
Yeah, how do you think, or rather, what's your opinion of how status effects are implemented in the game?
I never they didn't really affect me because I always made sure I had items on me
Yeah,
that could, I mean, I had to learn that lesson. Actually, for this boss, I loaded game and went and bought health items and other items because, yeah, I needed it. I couldn't beat this guy without health items.
he does hit quite hard, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It took me a while. And what the hardest part though is after you beat him, I didn't realize I had to go back up and get the tower key.
Yeah, I did the exact same. I did the exact same thing.
I went all over the castle, everywhere I already been, and looking for where to go next. And I ended up actually looking it up, and I was like, "Oh my fucking god, I'm an idiot."
but it does seem like you get up to the top of the tower specifically to fight him, and then when you finish the fight, you're back down. It's like, okay, that's the tower section done. On I go.
Right? Yeah.
It does have that vibe, but what you're expecting. So at this point, Gorgoth and yourself have gone down, broken all the floors, and hit the ground floor. Those are the floors that you would have actually walked across as you were ascending the tower. So now you reascend the tower, but it now turns into kind of a platforming thing. You kind of where the floor was, you can start jumping across. And they're quite large gaps.
Yeah, there's one specifically, the one towards the top of the ceiling. If you do your double jump wrong, you'll just hit the ceiling, and your glide, you won't really hit it.
Yeah,
I fell a couple times there.
And it's not difficult, but it sure is irritating.
Right, you just got to be patient. Make sure you're on the edge.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be quite close to the edge to get the jump right, and you have to do it several times in a row. And it can be cumbersome and just not. It doesn't feel great. And
if you're already lost and you've been doing this for a while, that could definitely be like, all right, fuck this.
Yeah, I'm going to bed. Fuck this.
Yeah.
But eventually you do get all the way back up there, and you get your tower key, and then you kind of it doesn't even really look like an obstacle. It's like this weird column that just starts radiating a blue light and disappears. Isn't that?
Yeah.
And I think that's the gate. Yeah.
And that's when you get to the cursed clock tower. I know at some point enemy I liked here. I don't know if it was here or a little before here, but they're like the armor knights with bladed yo-yos.
Oh, disc armor.
Yeah,
I hate them.
yeah,
Man,
those guys suck.
they get me every time because I'm like, okay, I'll jump just to get out of the way because he's gonna throw his fucking Beyblade, and I'll jump over just in time, and he'll actually like it's almost like he's tracking me,
Right.
or I'll just do some really bad platforming and somehow just connect with the disc. To be fair, it's usually my fault. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
disc armor.
yeah.
I'm very sorry. It was me all along. But I
I'm
like
so
it.
like my problem is I try to go too fast in games. Like if my wife doesn't like playing 2-player games with me because I'll be all the way across the map. I'll be like, "What's taking you so long?"
Man, you need to stop and smell the roses.
I know.
Yeah, I do you like. It's kind of like when I'm playing. Like I play Mario often with my wife, and she doesn't tend to hold the run button. She just
Ah, dude, my wife does the same thing.
man. I don't know why, but it makes an irritation bubble to the surface within me. I'm like, why aren't you running?
Right. I'll ask her,
Why?
be like, "Are you not running on purpose?" Like,
Yeah, and it's. But I just kind of hold it in, and all I'm thinking is, you can jump farther if you run.
and then she tries to do it, and then she'll die
Yeah,
immediately, and be like, "Well, that's why I didn't do it."
yeah, exactly. And it's just like, then you're both partially correct, which is actually the worst position to be in.
Right.
But I don't know what it is about that, watching someone play Mario and not having Mario run. It just kills me.
I mean, I assume you're the same way. You never walk in a Mario game
No!
unless, yeah, yeah,
And I'll die constantly, but I won't learn my lesson.
exactly, yeah.
It's like, what? Yeah, it's really hard to put my finger on why that irritates me so much.
Same thing here, and I don't know why. Maybe it's just a thing, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
How did we get to that? What were we talking about?
I don't know. I remember one time my wife tried to play Borderlands with me, and she was following me, and by the time she gets to the objective, all the enemies are dead. She's like, "Why am I even playing this?"
It's like, this isn't two-player, this is an escort mission.
Right. All right, Curse Clock Tower. So Celia appears saying, "Wow, you've only come this far." Like, she's rude.
Yeah, rude.
And she says Dario's growing stronger, and he's like fusing with this fire demon.
Hey, yo, Dario's been juicing, man.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And Genya and Julius arrive, and she gets the fuck out of there. Celia does.
Yeah.
And Genya senses a powerful magic at the river, so he sends Julius to the river, and he goes after Celia. And Julius tells you to just stay away and let them take care of it. So they're still trying to just like, hey man, leave. We got this. And then you get to the motherfucking Medusa heads.
But like, it's if you were that much of a liability, you'd think they'd like hand remove you from the castle.
Right? Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of like, well, we're going to go our separate ways, but you better get out of here. In fact, it's very important that you're not here because you could become our next major enemy. But we're going to go, and you better leave.
Yeah. Better leave.
It's I don't know what they're trying to go with there, but
and then they're surprised that you don't leave.
Yeah, it's like, Soma, what are you still doing here? Oh my god! But you're right. We come up against the final boss, Medusa heads.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be that bad except they're spikes, and if they turn you into stone on top of spikes, it just drains your health.
It rinses you, man. It rinses you.
Yeah. Yep. It's rough. But at least only specific ones will turn you into stone.
They're the kind of yellowish ones.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's hard. I can picture them. It's hard for me to imagine the color. I think.
Yeah, I can't either. I can
Yellowish,
imagine the regular ones.
Yellowish brown, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I am colorblind.
I think they look the same like color that they turn you the stone with. Like maybe
Stone colors.
I think maybe I don't know. Um,
What? I mean, all I can say is like grayish,
yeah,
charcoaly. I don't know. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean though. But yeah, it's funny when you get turned to stone. If like you mentioned, if you hit an environment like hitbox, like a spike, it wrecks you
yeah,
in a big way. So the only way to get out of the stone status is to mash the D-pad, and
and it still takes a minute, no matter how fast you mash it.
exactly. Ayo, sorry. But
Haha.
sorry, Christ. But I think that what kind of sucks about this is inevitably, as soon as you break out of the stone, you get hit by another one and you turn back into stone. And there's lots of like gears and conveyor belts that spin.
Yeah,
Like if you land on them, you turn to stone. Obviously, you're immobile. So if the platform that you land on is moving, that typically will move you into a spike.
right.
So you're kind of constantly getting drawn towards environmental hazards. Um,
And if you make it out of the spike, you're only going to have a sliver of health for the next room, unless you brought health stuff with you. But
yeah,
yeah,
it's not impossible or anything like that. I mean, the one thing about this area and the thing about Medusa Heads specifically is, unlike pretty much every other room in the game, when you go into a room, there's set enemy locations and they have set paths and they act usually pretty predictably. You have to come into a certain proximity and then they'll kind of activate and start gesturing towards you or trying to hit you, or then they'll kind of start doing things. So you can kind of make out a plan of attack and navigate your way throughout the room. And if you come back into the room again in the future, you can kind of take the same course you did in the past and probably get
right.
through unscathed. But when you get in here, Medusa heads spawn randomly, and their movement is totally random as well.
Then you'll get to
So,
the end of the screen, and you're at the door, and you're just like, "Please, I hope a Medusa head does not pop through this
man,
uh,
fucking
spawn right here."
every time, like you're just getting through, and you still get it. And at that point, when you're that close to the door, you're pretty much safe. But it's just one final reminder of how irritating the whole experience is.
Yeah. Every
Um,
once in a while, I'll get hit right back down, right when you just thought you made it.
yeah, so
um,
it's not necessarily the platforms or the environmental hazards or even the general enemy layout. It's just the fact that you can be immobilized by a status effect given by a randomized placed or a randomly placed enemy that infinitely spawns, and that's kind of unique compared to the rest
yeah.
of the areas in the game.
Yep. And even the boss here is pretty unique. Um, the Zephyr. What do you think about this guy?
Zephyr. Um, I think Zephyr is cool. Actually, it's
He can like actually counterattack you, which is interesting. I don't think anybody else does that.
no, you're right. And uh, there's lots of time stop shenanigans as well. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I had
I,
some troubles on this guy. It took me a few tries.
yeah. Zephyr is pretty cool. Lots of like diagonal attacks, so you have to kind of keep low to the ground, slide around a bit as well, and
Right. You're
lots of
managing a lot. You definitely got to keep moving.
you're managing a lot, so you're constantly jumping over projectiles, keeping low, sliding out of the way, and has a pretty strong grab attack as well. So yeah, it's a busy fight. I actually think when you get the patterns down, is quite an enjoyable fight.
Yeah. And one thing he does that some bosses do, he like makes a little noise before he does a specific attack. And, you know, at first, uh, I would play this, listening to music or a podcast, but I noticed like, oh, okay, I actually have to play this. I gotta
And
listen because it helps with the boss battles. But
so,
um,
please give me your best impression of the noise.
ooh, I don't know if I can do that. I can't even remember what did it sound like.
Placeholder noise is fine. You can make any noise you want, actually.
Whack whack.
Perfect. That's exactly how I remembered it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. He quacks and
that's when he
throws
goes
knives
into
at you.
when he goes into his Pac-Man phase. That's exactly what happens. Uh,
Yeah. Shit. Uh,
but no, it's a good fight. Actually, it's one of the really nice pattern-driven fights. Like when you get used to it, and you start seeing that you can really see the tells. He moves fast, but not too fast. So you'll die a couple of times, but when you acclimatize to it, you actually you feel quite rewarded when you do beat him.
oh, what? Apparently, if you use Persephone's magic vacuum, you can suck up the knives.
That's so cool. Man. I didn't know that. Man,
Yeah, and it
there's
won't cause any harm to you.
so many
That's
touches
fucking
like
cool.
that in the game.
Yeah, that's cool. And apparently, he's best friends with the Chrono Mage. I don't know who that is.
Oh, you don't know the Chrono Mage?
No.
That makes sense. I think the Chrono Mage is that it's in one of the handheld games. It's a rabbit. It's like literally the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah, Zephyr, friends with the Chrono Mage, cool boss. He quacks.
Yeah, it's a good boy. He's a good boy. I do like that. I do like that fight. I have to say there's a lot of bosses in this where I really like the aesthetics of them, but I really find them frustrating to fight. But this is a good mix of the two.
Definitely, yeah. The
Yeah.
bosses are, they're not easy. I mean,
No,
I don't think, honestly, any of them are like super, super easy.
it's
Um,
and
I,
I don't know if it's easy to say where like I've been seriously frustrated from fighting some of the bosses, and sometimes it feels like I've died unfairly. But I wouldn't say the game is janky or has like bad hitboxes most of the time or anything like that. But sometimes I do get frustrated.
yeah, I mean, sometimes, like, uh, when you're trying to use a certain soul on something, the hitbox can be a little weird, but, and maybe sometimes with the big, like, screen covering bosses too,
Yeah.
like, actually running into them themselves
Hmm.
can be a problem, but,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we talked about that with Balor, maybe?
Yeah, Belor he's a big boy. I really like him too though. He's a cool boss.
Oh, yeah, he's really cool.
Yeah.
And I think I've seen that boss before this game at some point. Is he appear in another game?
I don't know. Oh well, hold on. Belor is in a different Castlevania game.
Hmm.
um,
Fuck.
but no, I don't actually know apart from that.
Huh.
Uh,
But, uh, so yeah,
he's a big dude.
he is.
He's a big guy, big strong guy.
I don't even know, what is he supposed to be?
He looks like a hungover BDSM guy. Oh no, I'm actually looking at the wrong one because there's two below.
Left over from Dracula's party. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
did we call him Ejacula?
That's staying in.
That's Ayo. Sorry.
Uh,
I was actually looking at the wrong Belor. There's another Belor that looks a bit like that. Yeah,
the lore of Balor.
he got is it a beard or a mask on?
I think it's a mask.
Yeah, because it does kind of look like it just looks like a hairy dude. Kind
It's
of.
just a hairy dude.
It's just a giant hairy dude. It's just like a giant bear from like.
Oh, you know what? I know what it is. He is a BDSM guy. That's why he's covering his eye. He got
That's it.
Dracula, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Dark Lord Ejacula. Yeah. Christ.
Yep. That's
Jesus
that's
Christ.
why he's so mad.
Man, I've lost so many fucking brain cells in this conversation.
Who needs friends when you have Castlevania?
Exactly, Castlevania.
I mean, they don't make him anymore, so.
That's-
But you know,
that's why I have no brains.
Uh,
So
next.
after, sorry, go on.
Oh, say next is the. You go through the subterranean hell and you get to the silenced ruins.
Yeah, you start stopping some time. I think you need the Zephyr Soul to get in here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Because there's like some explosion or something that happens that blocks the area off when you enter the room.
yeah, exactly.
Or yeah,
And I think you get booted from the room if you don't.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, this is something
Um,
dynamic about that. So that, I mean, that's kind of cool. But again, it's just another like lock and key. You know, it's just
and you really only use it like I think once or twice.
yeah, pretty
It's
much.
really weird.
So
Um,
that's the thing is there's like it's cool that they have souls for everything, but I mean, a lot of them are just dressing. So
yeah.
um, you can have too much choice for sure, and but I'm sure there's some probably fucking challenge YouTube channel that beats the game using just the Zephyr Soul. I'm sure there's like
I mean, people do that with souls, so
yeah, exactly,
like
so
let's go through the game using the broken sword hilt. Like,
I
okay.
saw a challenge run today. I saw a challenge run today. It was a Dark Souls one challenge run where the guy said, "Can I beat Dark Souls without moving the camera?" He disabled his right analog.
Ugh.
Like,
No.
right?
Why?
Yeah. So, and because he disabled his
Dude.
right analog stick, he couldn't lock onto enemies either. Uh,
Like, I couldn't imagine doing like the Tomb of the Giants with that.
oh
Or
no, Tomb of the Giants is awful with a torch and your camera. It's
God.
um, but I didn't. I only watched maybe 10 minutes of it, and I was like, "Gee, people will make Souls content about fucking anything." Um, uh,
I mean, it will get you views.
it will get you. I watched. Well, I watched maybe. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
I watched one
Uh,
third of it, but still.
Back and we're at the Silenced Ruins. Um,
Yeah, boy.
yeah, this place isn't that bad. It does have shield enemies, which I always suck at fighting enemies that have shields. Because I'm
Well,
an
the whole
impatient
thing
fuck.
with see, that's the thing is like you just want to kind of bulldoze through an area, and it's just there's no challenge. It's just you stand there and you wait for the time to strike, and then they usually take more than one hit to die, and it's a bit of an eye rolling situation.
Yup.
And farming them for their souls sucks.
Oh, yeah. Um, I hate there's a specific long hallway of like 2 or 3 giant stone knights with shields.
I typically will kind of run through them, take the damage, and like use the invincibility frames to keep walking through them.
That's what I did too.
Yeah, I'll just kind of be like, oh, this is so pointless.
Yeah, because I think there's a save room like right next to it. So it's like,
Yeah.
fuck it, I'll take the damage.
Um, the thing about the Silence Ruins is like it's a pretty like stock kind of area. There's nothing really interesting about it.
No, yeah. It's even
So
in my
yeah,
notes. It's just nothing really special here.
yeah, it's pretty cut and dry. There's nothing crazy happening here. So,
Yep.
well, yeah, probably the biggest irritant are those shield enemies. I'm never a fan of those. They tend to have them in Castlevania games, and
Yeah, and they're a bitch in Mega Man games too.
oh, absolutely. I mean, just when you hear the little ding ding ding, when you're
Yep.
it's so annoying. But yeah, it's in the case of this, it's just to be honest, it's just an animation. If they do an animation where they can even slightly lift their shield, it doesn't matter if you hit them with a nuke; they'll completely guard the damage. Which
Yeah, it's awful.
is, very very annoying. But we're kind of on our way to unlocking arguably what will be probably some of the best movement capabilities you'll get in the game. Just flying.
Yeah, you come across Julius, and he's fighting Dario, and he gets defeated by him. And Dario tells us to meet him at the throne, and he'll be fully powered up and teleports away. So, this is another spot where it took me forever to figure out where to go.
Yep.
But where I can't remember. Where do you get the Panther soul? Where do those
Well,
guys appear?
you get that very close to the end of the game.
Okay, yeah, because the Pinnacle's next, and
Yeah, the Panther Soul is ridiculously good. It's so good. It's mandatory.
yeah,
But yeah, it's I think it's the same. So you can also get that in Area of Sorrow, and it's like at the it's seriously like one of the last screens in the game you get it.
Oh, that's
So they know how good it is,
right.
for sure.
Especially when you get flying, it's so nice.
Oh, so good. You just feel so
Free.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can actually do shit.
So the pinnacle, there's some tough stuff down here. Trying to remember what kind of enemies were down here. Hold on.
Oh well, I mean, before the pinnacle, you fight Bat Company,
Oh,
the Bat.
right. I love this boss.
They called it Bat Company. That's
Yeah.
shit. That's such a shit name.
Such a dumb name. Bat Company.
It's so bad. Bat Company. Um,
Uh,
yeah, but this is another. It kind of reminiscent of Zephyr in a way, where there's periods of the fight where the kind of damage you can do is limited, and there's like diagonal attacks and attacks that kind of track your movement, and you have to be pretty good to kind of jump and dodge over them. But it's quite good. I agree with you. It's a pretty engaging fight.
Bat Company's pretty
Yeah.
cool. He's not difficult. He's just actually just a fun fight, really.
Yeah, it is a fun fight. I enjoy this, but I definitely enjoy the power up you get even more.
Yep. You can fly, and now this is,
Yeah.
the good part where missed anything, it's a good time to go back and explore, because you have a lot, you can pretty much get anywhere now, just about, with this.
And the whole map is kind of free reign now. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised the little nooks and crannies that you can get into to actually get some additional. When you get like additional kind of movement options, and you go back and you look around, I do actually admire the developers' efforts to really take advantage of all the new avenues that are made available to you, because there'll be so many little places and little things and that become available to you just from unlocking flying, and it's usually optional stuff. And there's always a reason to go back and look around, even if it's not, totally necessary for plot progression or main story progression. There's always reasons to look around after unlocking some sort of new type of movement. So that definitely true for this case as well.
Oh yeah, you always get access to maybe another shortcut or two, also.
I did. I do find like you unlock doors and shortcuts and things like that, but they're often kind of redundant because the warp rooms and things. But
Yeah. Oftentimes I'll be like, oh, I haven't gone this way. Oh, it's just a shortcut. Fuck.
Yeah, that happened to me so many times, man.
Yep. Thought I was
Same.
on the right trail. Fucked it all up.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you here's the entrance, but you come in from a different side. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's lots of that. But no, flying really opens up the game.
Yeah.
And for instances like those shield knights that we were talking about before, a lot of places where you're kind of, in corridor type situations blocked by enemies, now you can just fly over them. So it makes a lot of those barricades are kind of torn down just from something as simple as being able to fly. So it's really beneficial, and has the benefit of a good boss fight as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And at this point, you can get to Dario, who the first time I got to him was my final boss.
Yes.
Yep. He's in front of a big mirror, and in his reflection is a big fire demon. And he rambles about, like, the survival of the fittest and, asshole bad guy stuff. And,
Yeah.
and you fight him. And it's pretty much the same moves from before. There are some new ones, but, he's not hard. He just still has an ass ton of health.
Yeah.
And then, when you beat him like this, you get the bad ending. Genya comes in and tells you to get away, and Daria bursts into flames. And the demon he fused with overtook him. Genya tells you he has people looking for Celia, and then you two just return to the village, and Soma collapses, but says he's fine. He just felt something weird after after you beat somebody, you start feeling weird. Was it Dimitri the first time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. Yeah,
Right. He says Soma said he had the same feeling when he fought Dimitri when he died, and he felt something enter him. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be the kind of the black soul.
Yeah. And then y'all decide to head to the church, and the game ends. Done. It's so weird.
This is a typical kind of bad ending in the Metroidvania kind of, the Castlevania Metroidvania games, where you'll hit the bad ending and they'll more or less kind of say, well, I mean, I guess we solved the problem, but it would be nice if we solved it better. And they'll walk off screen, and that's kind of the hint that, oh right, okay, but it's kind of like, I guess this is resolved, but it's kind of could have been a bit better.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So they just make kind of peculiar comments.
Yeah. Which, I think that's a cool way to do it, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you get credits.
You get the credits. So the trick was there's that big, glaringly, obviously strange mirror is Chekhov's mirror. It's the game telling you, wouldn't it be interesting if you interacted with whatever this is?
Right, and you're passing, I think, a few big mirrors in the game.
Yeah, there's a few of them, yeah.
And, yeah, you head back in the demon guest house, and there's a hallway of doors that only certain souls can break. And I kind of like this, actually. It took me forever to realize that's what I had to go do. But, yeah.
Do you know, I don't remember finding this out. What I had to do here.
I know.
Yeah, you're not obviously you're not explicitly told. You see the sprites of the three enemies.
Yeah.
That you need to solve of, but like I don't remember finding it out, and I don't think like it's not immediately obvious.
Yeah, I looked around a lot, and then I ended up. I think the first one's the bone, right? Big bone. And
I have here the axe armor, the killer clown, and the uko back, which is that weird little goblin that like floats around the screen and he leaves little fires.
Yeah, it took me forever to get that motherfucker's soul.
Yeah. Again, he's not even an enemy. He literally just puts obstacles in your way. It's so infuriating.
And that fire hurts you like a lot.
It's just another one that, John, you're trying to rush through an area and then you jump midair and you hit off one of the fires he leaves behind. It's just like, oh fuck.
Yep. And you have to just use these souls' powers on the doors and it breaks them, and you get through to paranoia. And fuck, this is hard.
This is a hard fight.
Yeah.
The laser beams hit like fucking truck, man.
Yep. And he's always on your ass. Like, you really gotta move. I know I made use of the back step here. You can cancel your attack so you can back up real quick.
Yeah, that's some real OG speedrunner tactics, man.
Well, that's what I was doing. So I don't know. I tried not doing that, but I died. I died a bunch.
I just found that like I was essentially like I was looking at how the lasers were going to hit off of all the mirrors, and I was trying to imagine the angle that they come out of, kind of like playing a game of pool or
right. Yeah.
And I was like, I should be okay, and I always miscalculated.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, this should miss me, and then it would like hit me square in the fucking face.
You can get lucky and like crouch in the corner sometimes, but
sometimes, yeah. But they hit pretty hard.
But yeah, it hits hard, so there's very few small room for error.
Well, the one thing is like that's basically his entire strategy. That and just like contact damage if you jump into him, I guess. But
yeah. So when you beat him, it leaves like a blood splat on the mirror, which is awesome. And next room is phase 2.
Yeah, exactly.
He's bigger, and the music even gets more intense, which is pretty cool. I actually love the music for his second phase fight. Well, actually, hell, man, all the music for this game's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
But
the Castlevania tunes are pretty good. I'm trying to get whatever's available on vinyl. I have the Symphony of the Night soundtrack on vinyl, so I'll try and get the rest.
ooh, hell yeah!
Oh, vinyl, fancy. Um,
Look at this fancy Irish man over here.
this guy barely has electricity.
You just got electricity 10 years
Just
ago.
got it. Yeah, just got it in. But we don't use it because it's haunted. I don't know.
Right, and from what I understand, you guys just upgraded from like dirt to mud, right? Good
we
for
like
you.
We like a good and wet boy. The second phase of this battle is pretty similar. I think the beams go on for longer, and he's bigger, so it kind of gets in the way.
Right.
But yeah, it's a cool fight. Lots of dodging, but I did die to this quite a few times actually.
And it's close to the final boss, so it's a good end-game boss.
Yeah, for sure. So it kind of gives it away as you're fighting Paranoia. You can see that he's able to pass in and out of mirrors into like a mirror dimension. And if you remember from fighting Dario, there was a giant mirror. So obviously the two are not related. Moving on. Now they're related. So you should be able to pass into those big mirrors. So I think there's like 4 of them altogether in the castle. So the others you can use a Paranoia Soul to kind of basically go into this mirror dimension and usually pick up items. But in the case of Dario, it's kind of vital.
Yep, you get the Dario, and it's the same thing as before, but you... Oh fuck, I lost my way in the notes. Where was I? Alright, so you head back to Dario, fight starts, and you hop into the mirror, and you fight Aguni. Agony? Aguni? I don't know.
One of the Goonies.
Yeah, he's a big old flame minotaur.
Yeah, basically a big flame minotaur. And man, I actually think this guy's fucking hard.
Yeah, he is.
He
Manticore.
kicked my yeah, he kicked my shit in a couple of times because it's just these columns of fire kind of keep appearing, and they hit hard.
Yeah, you want to get some health for this guy. Yeah, at this point, I always made sure I had at least like 10 potions on me before every boss fight. I wasn't fucking with them anymore.
Yeah, I was picking up fucking spaghetti, pork chops, Taco Bell, whatever was there. I was just like keeping it into my inventory and just eating everything. This guy hits hard. It's a good fight, but remember, this is frantic and can go on for a while. And one thing that happens that you can forget about, and the last time I played this did me in a bad way, was magic seal time when you kill him.
Oh man, I forgot about the magic seals. Why'd you do that?
Yes. So the last time I fought him, I fucked up the magic seal and he killed me.
Yep, that's happened to me.
It's infuriating, to be honest, because that's not the difficult part. It's just all of a sudden I have to go, oh shit, scrambling, and it didn't go too good.
Yeah, and I feel like it can be a little awkward, the hit detection on your magic seal. I went through that seal, but it didn't register,
Mm-hmm.
Like with the more complex seals, but that might be because I was trying to do them too fast or something, because I am stressed out when you're doing that.
I think the real issue is that you and I struggle drawing very basic shapes.
You know what? That might be it.
I think it could be an easier issue to try and diagnose.
That V, though, I had that down.
That V got ass. And But yeah, I think at this point it's more or less you're drawing something that resembles like a weird stop sign with a box in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, it's just it's such a shoehorned in mechanic, and it's really when you get to fights like this that it kind of starts hammering home how pointless it feels.
Whenever the prompt comes up to do it, it stops you immediately. So if you fail it and you go back to gameplay, you're either like in the air falling towards the boss or falling towards a projectile or anything like that. And if you're on low health, you're just going to die.
Cool. Yeah. And this is the one fight where I really started noticing that it was a pain in my ass, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you do eventually beat him, which is great.
Yep. And
more story.
Yeah. A lot more story.
Yeah.
Daria runs off, and Celia comes in saying, you know, she expected this, and there's more than one way to make a Dark Lord, and to meet her in the center of the castle. So, alright, guess we're gonna meet her in the center of the castle this time. And you start getting to the end game.
Yeah.
You get to the Gardens of Madness, and this fucking door, man. Every time I was looking for...
Got a new magic seal?
Yeah, every time I'd go to this door behind this big fucking slug and see if that's the one. I probably did it 10 times.
And you know, every time I play this game, so I play this game many times, I do it again every time. I always forget that it's like, this is actually a pretty much end game area. So
and it's so early you get to it.
Oh man, like so early. You're totally right. But I do the same thing every time I get new magic skills. Like, maybe this is the one.
Nope.
And the reason I keep going back to this is because I look at my map on the DS and I can see very clearly that one little strip that is an area I haven't been to yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll go and see what's in there. I keep forgetting to go back into that place in the Garden of Madness. It's because you can, dummy.
Yeah, and of course you get a new seal. That's what you're going to try.
Yeah, it's all straight away. I did it every time.
Yeah. This game's tricky. Likes to trick you. Sneaky. So you get through this door, and Mina's tied up to a tree, and seemingly killed by Celia. And Soma goes into a rage, and he starts to become the Dark Lord, as Celia anticipated. And Genya comes in telling you that, you know, this Mina's a doppelganger, and all the power you expelled goes into the doppelganger, who is Dimitri. Surprise.
Yeah, that was a cool. That was a cool. I didn't really see that coming. To be fair.
Yeah, I didn't. I definitely didn't. So
in a game that kind of doesn't really have any surprises, this was a good surprise.
Yeah, I didn't expect a fucking plot twist in this. Like, I thought we were gonna go, you know, take care of business, take this cult down, happily ever after. But no.
I think I just kind of assumed it was going to like reanimate Dracula or something. I didn't really know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, and this is even a surprise to Celia. She didn't know. She's like, and Dimitri explains. Okay, so he explains some stuff, but like honestly, I kind of blanked out. I can't really remember what he was saying before they teleport away.
If I remember correctly, it was something to the effect that his whole thing is that he is more or less a doppelganger. You use a soul on him, and he can use it back to you. So you throw the big bone at him, he'll throw the big bone back.
Yeah.
So he basically absorbs abilities, and I think he ends up being able to absorb Soma's ability to absorb abilities. It's some weird thing like that. I think that stuff happens.
Yeah, so stuff happens and they teleport away.
I've run out of steam. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, Genya says they went to the basement of the tower next to the castle, and you get to this lock.
How? How does he know that?
'Cause he's Genya, dude. So you get to a locked shadow door, Julius breaks through the barrier, and but he's too weak to fight now after breaking through the barrier. So you get down into some mines, and there's some cool enemies here, like the Slogra, which is like a big skeletal bird dinosaur with the spear.
Yeah, and that's a callback to other Castlevania games.
Hell yeah. And there's, gargoyles, and of course, the man himself, Death. Of course he's here. Gotta fight
Joe
Death.
Biden, sorry.
Uh, and at the beginning, he's super easy, and then second phase, he got tough, and he killed me a few times here. It's when he's like swinging his scythe around and crazy, and yeah, I manticored him,
Yeah, he's he even like his little scythe projectiles he throws everywhere. I mean, like they can be super disruptive and they can hit very hard as well.
Oh yeah.
Um, and he has, if I remember correctly, he's kind of a two phase, like you said. So like his second phase, like the attacks start getting a lot more ambitious. I put it that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, he hits so hard. So I often died to death. And it is like me pausing every 10 seconds to swallow half of my inventory. Like, if I'm honest. Sometimes I do have that thought of try and beat all the bosses without resorting to going back into the inventory. Like, make your, to make myself, like, learn all their patterns. I can never get around to it. Because the thing is, if I did that, I think the game would absolutely wreck me.
Absolutely. Oh,
yeah,
man.
If like when you think of the old Castlevania games, I mean, like there was no inventory. You just had your health bar, and that's kind of it. So this is a luxury afforded to us because of the RPG kind of element of these Metroidvania games. But if they maintained that old system of not having an inventory, I wouldn't be able to finish these games.
No, yeah, without cheating, there ain't no way.
Yeah.
But yeah, this death boss, for me at least, I thought he wasn't too bad compared to the last two bosses we just did. Like, I didn't think he was as bad as Aguni or Paranoia. I think Paranoia might be the hardest boss for me.
Paranoia was irritating for me, but not horrifically bad. I would say for me, Death probably, because Death has a lot of HP.
Yeah,
and
definitely ain't easy.
And he has these attacks like these giant skulls that appear like from the sides of the screen and try and bite you, and they do stupid damage.
Yeah, his attacks are more unpredictable, really. It's harder to predict where they're gonna go, where exactly you need to be.
Yeah, you have to be really quick with your reflexes or you're going to get wrecked.
Right. Wrecked by death.
Wrecked by death. And keep in mind as well, I mean, again, because it's kind of an RPG-based game, you should have been leveling up as well as the game has gone on. Like, you want to be at a decent level, you want to have decent equipment on. If you don't, he's just going to rinse you. So
yeah, you have to be changing out your equipment and stuff.
You pretty much, yeah. You need to really keep an eye on that. I would assume.
Although I'm sure there's like a knife only run or something.
Probably, yeah, absolutely. But one thing we didn't really talk about is there are affinities in this game. So I think Death is technically like dark affinity. So if you get like a holy weapon, you will do serious damage. So
I completely forgot about that.
So there's usually, when I say usually, it's me, Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow, but there's two main grade swords that are the two final weapons. So and they're funnily enough, they're both Irish words. So I finally get to flex a bit here. There's the Khaled Bulg, which is usually the dark affinity weapon. And I am actually an Irish speaker, so I can say it means iron stomach.
I don't believe you.
And the ultimate weapon in this game is the same as an area. And this one, I have to be honest. Again, being an Irish speaker, this kills me because I like to watch speedruns of this game, and everybody pronounces this wrong. Everybody, and it breaks my heart. So everyone calls it the claim Soleil. I don't know if you've seen if you look up the weapons list in this game, you'll see the ultimate weapon is this weapon. It's not pronounced like that. It's pronounced Clive Sullis.
Oh, here it is. I got it right here.
You got it, yeah. So it looks
Oh
like
yeah,
it
there's
says
no
like
way I wouldn't have known how to say that. No.
yeah. So this is the thing with the Irish language is how it looks and how it's pronounced is very different. So it's Clive Sullis. So the first word is like the name Clive, and the second word is Sul is. So Clive Sullis, and it literally translates to the Sword of Light, which was the name of a nationalist newspaper in Ireland, actually, as well. But with the Clive Sullis, it being a holy weapon, it will rinse death.
Hell yeah.
So,
yeah.
but to get it, you have to go through that pretty not very well articulated upgrade path, which involves getting some very rare soul drops and also some very rare item drops as well.
Shit. So it's quite the grind to get.
It's just like, if you know exactly what to do, you'll get it in a couple of hours with some good RNG. If you don't know what to do, if you're actually just swinging blindly, you're just not going to get it.
Yeah.
So there's that. But that's enough about my Irish lesson. My apologies.
Oh, thank God. Not just playing.
This fucking guy. Jesus Christ.
Fucking smearing his Irishness everywhere.
I know. Oh, also, don't fuck up the magic seal.
Yeah. Nope. Fucking magic seals.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm always happy till you bring up the damn magic seals.
I know, man.
It crushes my soul.
It's not good.
So next is the Abyss, and it's pretty much hell. You're getting a lot of repeats of enemies, but it's a lot of the harder enemies in the game. Like, no Medusa heads, so that's good.
Yes, that's good.
But this is probably the most linear place in the game. You're really just going to point A to point B, trying to get to the end at this point. And
yeah. There's environmental hazards as well as enemies. So they're in-game enemies, and the environmental hazards are very heavy on damage. So
oh yeah, so they're putting you to the test.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is. It's not an impossible area to get through or anything like that. But it's just, if you don't watch yourself, you could very well get killed.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, environmental hazards get me because I'm always rushing.
Yeah, I'm the same.
And then you get to another boss, Abaddon.
Well, before that, you can get the final ability soul if you fall through this, like, I think it's like a sand trap.
I don't think I didn't do that.
Oh, you can get this. It appears in Aria of Sorrow as well. It's the Hippogriff soul. So if you get this, if you press up and L, you do like a ridiculous jump where you'll hit the ceiling of any room, and you can chain it. So if you use that with the Black Panther, you don't even need to use the Bat Soul anymore. It's very, very good movement. So
that's awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but you're literally on the complete cusp of finishing the game at this point. So
yeah.
But sorry, you're
so like, do I really want to go back and find everything with this? Like,
yeah, it's up to you. But yeah, you're right. There's another boss fight.
Yep, Abaddon. He's a big bug man, locust type.
Man.
Yep. He like controls these locust swarms like a conductor in an orchestra. It's interesting.
That's a really good way of putting it, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't have too much trouble with them.
You know, the first time I ever heard of locusts was that episode of The Simpsons where George Bush moves across into the house across the street,
Yeah.
and they end up having a fight in the sewers underneath their houses, and Bart drops a box of locusts. Just to let you know.
That's a good introduction to Locust.
That's a normal introduction to locusts.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not really what I would have expected for a penultimate boss. There's no story significance with this boss. So
Right, he's kind of weird. He's just kind of thrown in here.
Yeah, and it's not like you get like a really really good ability or anything. Like no, it's a bit. It's just a bit like right. I remember my first time fighting this boss, and I was like, it feels like there's going to be like a boss gauntlet after this, or it feels like there's going to be something else. I wasn't expecting to actually hit the final boss straight after this. That caught me off guard.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know if you felt the same.
Oh, I did. Yeah. It's always weird when they just throw boss after boss, because, well, they do it kind of at the end here. You really get a lot of bosses, one after another, starting with, like, Paranoia, you know?
Oh, yeah, it's machine gun, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's weird how you don't fight Celia, or you don't have any, considering she's the
Right.
mastermind, I guess, behind the whole ordeal you're going through, and you don't really have anything to do with her, so...
Yeah, from this point on, well, we're about to get to it, but she's just gone.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, oh, okay. That was her.
That was her. So we finally, after Abaddon, I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, the second half of the Abyss fucked me up. There's a lot of spikes, a lot of winged flying enemies, just everything I don't like.
The spikes are very bad.
Yeah, they tear you up. At least they don't one hit you, but they take a lot of health.
What's almost worse is that you get knocked back, and it can knock you back into the previous room, and then all the enemies respond. Like that stuff like that happened to me a lot. And,
yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to the immediate despawn and respawning of the enemies.
Very good for soul farming, pretty awful for everything else.
Yeah.
But you.
I think this is when you get to Dimitri.
Yeah, this is exactly it when you get to Dimitri.
Yep, and he's defeated Genya, and he's sacrificed Celia.
And he's like, I'm going to take in all the dark energy, and I'm going to be the Dark Lord, best guy. And
Be the evilest of evil.
Cool guy, and he basically ends up exploding and shitting his intestines out into this monstrosity.
Yeah, called the Menace.
Menace, where it's really, the start of this is pretty like eldritch horror, kind of like, am I really fighting an upside down skeleton ball bag monster? What's going on here?
It kind of reminded me of Kraid from Super Metroid.
Actually, even though it doesn't look like Kraid directly, the kind of vibe of the fight, I do kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah. But because there's platforms here too. You're jumping on platforms to attack him because he's covering the whole screen.
That's the second phase, or the first phase is where he's bent over you.
Oh, yeah.
And he has these weird blades that come up that look like fingers, and they fuck you up. And sometimes this little head pops out. It's a really, it's a weird vibe. He's spitting gas at you, and it's just weird.
It's like, I think what the boss is isn't it all the demons combined in the one giant monstrosity?
Yeah, that's kind of what they're hinting at with like Dimitri. He ingests all these like dark souls, and but he can't hack it, and they all like basically burst out of him and manifest into this hodgepodge of weird.
Yeah, and it looks all fucked up and demonic, and I think it's great. Do you like it?
Yeah, no, it's a really cool design. It's just like, I remember when I went into the first phase, I was like, what is on the screen right now?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
eventually, when I beat that first phase, and the camera kind of slightly pans out, and you see that you were fighting a bent over abomination, and then he stands upright, and it's like, what the fuck was that? And then the second phase, which I think is legitimately, I actually think the second phase is a bad fight. I don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I didn't care for it
Uh,
either. The first phase is cool, and
yeah,
uh, like you said, he's like bent over you, and it's strange. I don't know. It's just a weird fight, but it's awesome.
yeah, it's
Um,
very unsettling and very strange. But like, when he
yeah,
stands up, it turns into he has like a weak point on his knees and his feet, and
yeah.
knock them all out. But this guy is enormous, and he has. This is the only fight in the game where I did legitimately think the hitboxes were bullshit, because he hit me so many times where he did not connect. And if you actually get contact damage off of Menace, it's not good. You'll only survive 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah, but these giant bosses, that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
But I wonder if they fix that in the later DS ones.
I could be wrong. I don't remember anything quite as massive, as in that goes beyond the bounds of the screen, quite like Menace. Menace is probably the largest boss I have fought. No, I'm sure someone will correct me, but I can't think of any of the
Oh,
other games.
um, I remember. I think Portrait of Ruin has like a giant ball of bodies or something that's
Oh
like
yeah,
screen covering.
that's Legion. That's in a lot of the Castlevania games, and
Well,
it
okay.
doesn't really move or do much, so that's not too bad. But you just have to get to the core of that and damage the core, and that's not too bad.
Right,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, this is like, this guy moves a lot, and his hitbox is enormous. And what I think is actually even worse is the fact that you have to kind of platform around to hit his weak points while he summons these weird leech monsters at you. And
It's rough.
man,
Yeah.
they do so much damage.
It's like, I get why it's so difficult, because it's the final boss, but it's like, it's kind of unfairly difficult.
It's it's unfairly difficult, and it also just doesn't really feel enjoyable. So like, the only the only way I got through this was by, again, like, ingesting half of my inventory,
Yep, me
uh,
too.
and it was that typical kind of, I'm just trying to platform and hit his weak points, and if I'm not getting hit by his hitbox, I'm getting hit by some weird leech thing that's like nuking half my health bar, and you're getting bombarded, like, so it's yeah, it's just not an enjoyable. It's a weird platforming exercise where if you just get hit a couple of times and you're not resource managing, you're back to the start.
Yep. And you can just get online and look up a no damage run and see someone take it out without even blinking.
Yeah, it's that's the thing, is I've realized for the last couple of bosses, I'm like, oh, they do so much damage, they do so much damage, but I'm also just probably not very good at the game.
It's like, oh, we shouldn't get hit. Okay.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, try not to get in. You're good. Like. But
Wish I'd have known.
uh,
Um,
the second, yeah, that second phase is the last phase, and that's it. You hit the
and
couple of weak spots. That's it.
also, yeah, his face opens up to another face. Like, it's so weird. Gameplay wise, ass, but the boss itself looks awesome.
Well, I mean, it is cool because the face inside in the face is Dimitri's face.
Ooh, I didn't even
Well,
fucking
it
do it.
looks like Dimitri's face, um,
Yeah,
but
that makes sense.
yeah, that part's pretty cool. But like, it really just, when you think about, you fought like Paranoia and Aguni, and they had kind of unique move sets, and Abaddon had like an interesting, like you said, that conductor kind of jump. So they've created some interesting attack patterns and moves, and I was expecting something really unique for this as well, but literally just his contact hitbox is the final boss.
Right. Yep.
Well, that like, but again, that's what my experience was. What did you think?
No, I'm the same boat as you. I liked the first phase, didn't have a problem with it. I loved the way the boss looked, but the whole second phase, it's unnecessarily difficult. Like, there's no way I would have been able to do this without, inventory full of food and potions.
Oh yeah, and eating everything in the fridge.
Maybe eventually, but it would have taken me 100 tries.
Yeah,
More.
it just wasn't very very enjoyable. But again, a lot of health as well, and when you take out the vulnerable spots and then his face, that's it.
Yep. Um, so you defeat it, and all the souls. Do they go in? They get released, right? Or do they go into you?
I think they go into you.
Okay.
You're. It's the whole like, oh, is, will he? Won't he? What happens? And I'm pretty sure he's able to like resist what's going on.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the castle crumbles, and you and Genya are outside, and Genya explains that there needs to be a Dark Lord, but it doesn't have to be you, and you can just be human. So that's kind of what you do. You go and meet all your friends, Yoko, Hammer, Mina, and y'all just have a good time. Oh yeah, Julius too.
and I think someone does kind of make that whole so like you and Mina are y'all gonna bang, and you're like, what? We're just friends.
Right. Yep.
It's yeah, it's
Full blown anime shit.
it is full blown animation. It's just like yeah, mixing this weird cosmic horror stuff with like teen high school drama. It's weird,
Yeah.
but on a very very surface level. And that's it. Again, like it's not too rich in terms of narrative or anything. It's
No, everyone literally at the end they laugh together, and then it just goes to the end. Everyone's happy.
yeah, like, to be honest, it's no wonder that there is no further sequel because I don't know what else you can kind of say because like this relationship between Soma, Mina, Yoko, Hammer, and Genya, like that's carried on from the previous game. But they also didn't really have anything to do with each other in the previous game either. So it's they don't really create strong relationships between the characters.
Right.
Saying that, like I mean, the draw for this game for me was like the tight controls, really good gameplay, the backtracking mechanics I thought were really good. So the story for me, it feels like an afterthought, but I don't really mind.
But even like we said earlier, with the plot twist, there's still some moments in there where you're like, oh, okay, that was pretty cool,
Yeah, no, that's true. I think there's a lot of tropes for sure, like the anime stuff that you mentioned with the like the high school sweetheart thing,
And then Julius being like, you turned into a monster. I'll have to kill you.
get out of here, kid! You don't know what you're doing. That kind of it's yeah, but no,
Even down to the big dumb blacksmith named Hammer.
that's far too on the nose.
It kind of is, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah. So I love the game. I can say definitively, I don't give a shit about any of these characters.
Yeah, me neither.
I love
I
this
do
game.
not care.
I love this game. But
I really enjoyed it too, and yeah, I didn't care about any of the characters. I mean, they weren't like, it's not like they were bad. They were just kind of there,
But that extends to Soma. I don't really. I feel nothing towards the guy,
Yeah.
And with the whole, even the catalyst for the story with Celia, Dario, and Dimitri, it's like, oh, we're doing all this to conjure up the Dark Lord's powers. And it's like, they're a cult, but there's 3 of them. That's not a cult. That's just some people.
That's true, actually. Yeah.
And and it's like, okay, to conjure up the Dark Lord's powers, to what end? Why does Celia want to do it? Does she actually say it? Is it like an infatuation with Dracula? Is it because to destroy the world, ha 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 ha, kind of thing, or what?
Right, I guess we don't really find out, huh?
Maybe they do articulate it, but it just kind of seems like, let's get the Dark Lord's powers. Why?
Right.
I don't know. Why not? So yeah, the motivations are a bit.
Yeah, but we're here for the monsters and the exploration, and we're here to swipe ice blocks off a DS screen.
Oh,
that kind of stuff.
Like, it's really funny. I remember just the first time we hit those ice blocks, and I was like, "Oh, these are going to appear fucking everywhere," and they don't.
But I don't.
What is the point of this?
I don't know what's worse, having him in one room or like 5 or 6. It's like, really, just one room? Like,
I think there's one other place where they appear, and you get like you break certain patterns into them to jump up on top.
Right, I remember that room. You have to break it in a certain way and climb up. Yeah.
Yeah, and you get some sort of reward, but that's totally optional.
Yep. But yeah, great game. I'm this makes me want to play the other DS ones, but what I think I'm going to do is go back. I think I'm going to cover the first Castlevania and make my way up. Even Castlevania 2.
Fair play. I would say people obviously talk about Symphony of the Night quite a bit. A game I would put in the same category is Order of Ecclesia, which is one of the DS ones. It is so good. It really is. So that's a personal recommendation. The other thing is when you finish the game, you unlock Julius mode.
Yep, I was gonna talk about that and the final boss a little bit.
So the other thing though is you also get a boss rush mode. Did you try that?
No, I didn't even know there was a boss rush. Son of a...
Yeah, it's in the main menu. So what's for?
I love boss rushes too. What the fuck?
Yeah, I'm so bad. But I think it's the boss rush mode. If you finish it within a certain, so you get a prize for, let's say, finishing within a certain time. Obviously, the faster you do it, the better the prize, and you can bring it in. The prize that you get, you can bring it into your main save file. And I think the top prize is an RPG, as in a rocket-propelled grenade launcher, and that's what they use in the speedruns to absolutely melt the game.
Was it like one hit everything?
More or less. I'm just going to look up some details about it here.
It's not any different than going through the castle and like, what the fuck? I have a handgun?
Yeah, it's so if you finish it within 5 minutes, you unlock the RPG.
5 minutes? Fuck. Is it every boss in the game, I assume?
It is 13 bosses.
Holy shit. I don't know about all that.
So what the speedrunners do is there's a zip glitch that you can zip from one room to the next and just keep going till you hit the end. So you're not going to do it legit.
True. Yeah. Speedrunners you're talking about.
Exactly. But that's the reason I brought it up. So yeah, the RPG is the prize. So
that's cool.
Yeah, if you like boss rushes, it's there for you, and it's cool that you get to carry the prize into your main save file, as well as Julius mode. You can basically do a new game plus as well.
Yep, and you play as Julius and 2 other characters.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I actually didn't realize that you played as others until you said it to me.
Yeah, you play as Alucard. And that guy. Oh, which I guess that makes sense because, he was in the game.
Maybe.
Maybe, but and
Maybe.
someone else, but I can't remember who it was. It was a female.
Yeah, it's Yoko. Yoko Bernadette. She's the one that upgrades your weapons.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Let her get in there and get some action. But the coolest thing about this mode, I think, is the final boss, because you get to the throne room, and Soma's there, and he's drinking some wine, and he gets up and, well, he throws his wine glass at you and starts to fight, and he'll summon different creatures, which is really cool, and he'll also fly around, and eventually turns into some big fucked up vampire creature, and then, you know, you just beat him. You just keep smacking him around if you're with. But
Did you
yeah,
do it?
no, I just looked up playthrough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to, but then I was like, do I really want to? Like right after I just beat it, you know?
That's kind of the problem I have is when you're knocking ones like I've had enough of this, but it whenever I come back to this game in 6 months or a year, I'll be like, I won't do the extra modes. I'll be like, I'll start a brand new save file. uh,
Yep, and then beat
but
it and be like, well, shit. I guess I'm
yeah,
done for now.
it's a bit of a cycle, you know.
Yeah.
But
It'd be different if it was a shorter game. I mean, it is a short game if you really want it to be, but the way I play, there's no way this would be a short game.
it is a game that encourages you to kind of hit every nook and cranny. So,
Yeah.
um, but I suppose looking back on it, if I was to kind of, I suppose, categorize it like on presentation, controls, narrative, and aging as well, how well it's aged. In how do you think it holds up?
I think other than, the magic seals, I mean, even the ice block stuff, it's tolerable. It's not, like, horrible. But
Yeah,
the magic seals will... I think that's the only negative thing I really have to say. I mean, everything else, I think, holds up pretty well. It still looks nice. Still sounds amazing. And, the story's nothing bad or, nothing, like, amazing. But, yeah. I think, like, playing the original Castlevanias, it's kind of hard to play those, but I think this is the sweet spot right here. Is, like, the DS Castlevanias. Um,
they
maybe,
feel responsive, comparatively responsive. I played actually. I think after the last time we spoke, I played the original Castlevania on my Famicom, and
hell yeah.
it's man, it's a weird way to put it, but it's like every movement your character makes feels very. Um,
It's like you're made of stone.
yeah. That's actually a good way of putting it. It's and I think a big thing people mention is just the fact that if you're going to make your character jump, you better commit to it because you can't change direction.
Right.
So it's just your all your movement has to be very deliberate. And playing games like Dawn of Sorrow, where you are afforded that flexibility of moving in midair, or even not moving like stone, that there's kind of momentum to the way Soma moves. Like when you let
Yeah.
go of a direction, it slowly winds down, and it just feels more organic. You can turn very fast. So going from this and going back to the original Castlevania, it is a bit of a mind melter. It's like, oh, I can't control this at all. So
Yeah.
the
M-
the newer
the
games, yeah. Sorry, go on.
I would say the best thing about that first Castlevania is when you're on a staircase and there's an enemy on top of the stairs and an enemy at the bottom of the stairs, and you're just like, where the fuck do I go? I hate the stairs in that game.
I think a lot of people do, and what I try and do is like, oh, I'll do what speedrunners do. I'll jump and get the guy on top to like damage boost me, and that just doesn't. Whenever I try and do stuff like that, it doesn't work. So
Right, every time.
uh, But yeah, I think this game, Dawn of Sorrow, just in terms of straight gameplay, it's really nice. There's a very consistent feeling of progression. You go from fairly, you know, limited move set in terms of just actual movement and sort of attacks you can perform, and you can really, when you, especially when you kind of look back on how you started, you can really feel the difference. Like as you make your way through the bosses and you kind of take note of the new abilities that you have, you do feel a real dopamine hit, and a lot of the souls regarding movement, like everything between Flying Armor and the Bat Company Soul and Black Panther, they make huge differences. You feel like very much in control, and you can feel very kind of nearly powerful as well. You know, you can storm through rooms and get to where you want to go very easily.
It feels like you're playing a whole new character sometimes.
It does. But again, like there's the whole thing. You can have too much choice. You know, I've played the game many times, as I've mentioned before, and I've collected probably all of the souls in a couple of playthroughs. You know, when I was trying to get a nice 100% foil, and I probably have used 15% of them. You know, if I'm honest, and there's a lot of weapons, and I love that they give you that much choice. But it's the thing is with a game like this is a very small subset of what they give you is all that's necessary. It's apart from the bosses, the game is not too bad. And typically when you're fighting bosses, you only, you know, the likes of the Manticore will do the job. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, but having so many, like you said, you'll get a really useful one that just makes, 10 other ones obsolete, like not even worth using at all. For a while I was taking my time and clearing a room or two with each soul, but then I was like, I'm tired of swapping souls.
Yeah, it's you just kind of like, just get on with it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the controls, like I said, are really tight. So I really enjoyed the kind of Souls dynamic. Presentation wise, I think it holds up very well. It kind of has a nice art style that I don't think will age terribly.
No, I mean, especially right at the beginning, that snowy village area looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it looks really nice, and with that, as soon as you mentioned the snowy village, I can hear the music in my head as well.
Yeah,
so, really good soundtrack. Like I said before, narratively, it's nothing special, but I don't really mind. I'm pretty up to date with a lot of Castlevania lore, but I'm not that concerned about it. So
sometimes it's nice to just turn your brain off and go kill some stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And really good, as you've alluded to before, really cool enemy designs, the fact they have unique death animations, and there's a lot of variety built into this game. So it's quite ambitious, you know. So I can't take that away from it.
And also, extremely super early DS title as well. Like
very, yeah.
Yeah. Close to launch, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, pretty close to launch. That's well. I think the fact that it's the touchscreen implementations are there kind of gives that away as well.
Right. Yeah.
It does date it slightly. But no, it's a game that I will come back as kind of like comfort food. I come back to this, maybe once a year, every 18 months. It's just it's something nice you can play handheld. It's, as we mentioned, the bosses are actually kind of taxing, but with the right resource management, you'll make your way through it perfectly fine. It's it's good brain food.
Yeah, I'm glad we covered a DS game this early in the show, because I really love the DS, and there's so many good games on it, but there's also so much just straight up garbage.
So much shovelware, man.
Oh man, probably like 70% of the library, honestly.
I think the Wii has a similar problem.
It definitely does. Like, I got a game for my Wii in there called 30 outdoor camping mini games or something like that. Like
You say 30 or dirty? One is
30.
more interesting. One is more interesting than the other.
Definitely. And also, well, I don't know, man. The name family is in the title too.
Sweet, sweet mother of God.
Hey, you know what? We're in Kentucky. No. Well, I am.
Yeehaw! Yeah,
Yeehaw.
I will cosplay. Um, uh, yeah, the Wii has the weirdest shovelware, but then it has stuff like the first Xenoblade game. So
Yeah. And one of my personal favorites, Boom Blocks.
oh, that's Steven Spielberg had something to do with that, right?
Did he?
I can guarantee. So my dog is losing her life. 1 second. My sincere apologies. I have returned.
You blew my fucking mind. Boom Blocks and its sequel were directed by filmmaker Steven Spielberg.
There you go. See, I can be helpful sometimes.
What?
That's a really random fact that I just got at the top of my head. I don't know why.
He should make more games. It's a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen videos of it. It's like no, it's probably nothing at all like to what it is, but visually I saw it and I was like, is this like a weird 3D Tetris kind of thing? I couldn't quite just the shapes that were there. It kind of looked like that, but
It's more adjacent to like maybe Jenga.
oh, okay.
Jenga with explosions.
Jenga would explode. Yeah, it sounds great. But yeah, that's a Spielberg special.
That damn. Hell yeah.
Really good. Yeah, I could hear it in your voice, and you're like, I don't think Spielberg would have anything to do with a game like that. Which is what I thought when I first started. I was like, this doesn't really.
Like there's Spielberg's known for like story and stuff. There is no story in Boom Blocks.
It didn't look like there was. I mean, it kind of be like Martin Scorsese being responsible for Super Monkey Ball or something. I don't know.
I want to be in that alternate universe. You get to play as fucking Martin Scorsese in a monkey ball collecting Dole bananas.
That would be amazing. I fucking yeah. We should get in touch with the modding scene.
Definitely.
But yeah, like the Wii does get kind of overlooked, and there are some legitimately very good games for it. And like you mentioned, the DS, I think people do kind of just immediately resort to thinking like, oh, it's just a shovelware station essentially, but
Or like a game system for like babies. Like the DS has quite a few. I mean, I think most people look at the DS as like a kid system, right? Or like a little kid system, even though it has like Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars on it.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, like when I think of when it launched, I mean it was a big deal. But I mean, the only game I saw with it was Nintendogs.
I used to play the fuck out of Nintendogs.
Yo, man, I fuck with Nintendogs.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I mean, like, I think you're totally right. Everyone's like, yeah, it's a kid's game. It's a kid's console. It's nothing. But no, there's some great stuff for it.
Oh yeah, Cooking Mama.
Cooking Mama, yeah. What else?
No, but all the Marios, Pokemon, obviously. There's a really good RPG called Glory of Hercules, which is a Greek mythology RPG.
I've never heard of it.
I don't think anyone has, honestly. I remember getting it when I was a kid, and it just kind of stuck with me, and I liked it. Scribblenauts is good too.
What else is on it? I'm just trying to think of like my 3DS is upstairs.
There was that weird Sonic turn-based RPG.
I do not know what you're talking about. What?
Yeah, Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Yeah, it was a turn-based Sonic RPG.
That's they really were just fucking crowbarring Sonic into anything, weren't they?
Oh yeah.
Like you were talking about Shadow the Hedgehog earlier, and I got that. I think it was the week it came out. Not because I'm not a big Sonic fan or anything like that, but I had some spare cash, and it was there, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll pick it up. And I remember like after a few minutes, I was like, "Am I playing like a dystopian Sonic game? And do I have a machine gun?"
Yeah.
Um,
Did
it
you? Sorry, good.
no, it was just the whole surreality of the whole thing.
Um, uh, interview with the guy that voices Shadow for that game just came out recently. Did you see that?
I thought you said you interviewed him. I was like, "That's a really cool interview."
I wish, man. But he said in the interview that apparently in the early scripts of the game, they had him saying "fuck" in every sentence.
My man.
Like it was supposed to be full blown hard rated M. Like yeah. And apparently he said there's like a file out there with voice lines of him as Shadow, like saying horrible shit.
Like, I just associate like voice acting from Sonic games with shitposts. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Are you a fan of Sonic?
I am indifferent to Sonic. I had the first Sonic game on the Genesis, as you Americans like to call it, and
You
I
dirty Mega Drive out of here.
goddamn Mega Drive, um, and yeah, I thought it was okay. Because everyone's like, "Oh, you play Sonic, you get to go really fast." I was like, "Not really, though."
Yeah, because you'll die.
Yeah, exactly. You'll die, and like Green Hill Zone, fine. Eventually, like, you get to like water stages. There's actually a lot of puzzles, and it's not as like go fast, eat ass as you think it is. But yeah, I mean, I played the later ones like Sonic Heroes and stuff, and they're pretty good. But yeah, I'm kind of just indifferent. What about you?
Oh man, Sonic Heroes is my shit. I don't. I've gone back and played the original Sonic and stuff, but I don't really care for it. I'm terrible at it. But I like Sonic Unleashed. I played a little bit of Generations and Sonic Adventure 2. But yeah, I played a good mixture of them. They're all right.
Yeah,
But
I tried to play Sonic Adventure, the first one on the Dreamcast, and it bored me to tears. Um, someone is going to absolutely like letter bomb my house for saying the Sonic community is absolutely like driven.
look,
So
guys, just because Sonic Adventure 2 is overrated, don't have to be mad about it.
Jesus, sweet Christ, what are you doing? I got a wife and kids, man. I don't. I have well, not a wife. uh, but yeah, no, I never got the Sonic buzz ever really. Like I have a Sega Game Gear, and it's like just so many Sonic games on it, and I just think they're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
No real issue with them, but they're just fine.
Are you a fan of Sonic Adventure 2?
I have that issue I said to you before where I can't play a sequel without playing.
Oh, right, yeah.
So I was like, I'll play Sonic Adventure and then work my way up to 2 because people seem to really like that one, and I'm not engaged enough.
I would tell everybody out there right now, taking care of your chows is not as fun as you remember it, okay? And the only thing you remember from Sonic Adventure 2 is that goddamn song in the first level. Stop playing with me. Get out of here. Even you know it.
Yeah, I haven't even played the game, but I fucking know it.
No, Sonic Adventure 2 it's an alright game to me. I don't think it's
Is that where
horrible.
is that where you're like surfing down the street?
Huh?
Is the first level? Is that where you're like kind of surfing down the street?
Yeah, you're like going down this steep road and
Yeah.
the truck's following behind you.
Oh, did you ever play Sonic R?
I have not. Was it on the N-Gage or something?
No, jeez, about a throwback. No, it's for the Saturn, the racing game. But it's
Oh,
foot race.
no.
You literally have you look it up. It's horrific.
Really? I know they had a Rayman foot racing game that was bleh, but
Oh man, this is very bad, and it has there's like a cringe compilation from AGDQ where which is quite good actually, but the yeah, they had someone playing Sonic R, and Sonic R has a lot of songs that are very like that first level in Sonic Adventure 2,
oh god.
with lyrics, but way cringier. And they have, as part of this speed run, they get some people to stand up and sing the song from that stage in Sonic R, and it is one of the most spine-tinglingly horrific things you'll ever watch.
Ah, sounds amazing. The
I was
cringier the better. I love
I will send you a link. Yeah, I am massively addicted to cringe. But
uh, let's shut down this episode real quick.
yeah.
But yeah, Castlevania, Dawn of Sorrow, awesome stuff. Can't wait to get to the ones before and after it, including Lords of Shadow, because I actually like that game a lot.
You are on your own there, buddy. But thank you very much for having me as part of this two-parter. We went off the beaten path quite a bit, but it was really enjoyable. Thanks very much for having me, Justin.
Yep, thank you for coming on.
Cheers, man.
Peace.